Chapter 1047. Do you still need to hear about this? Just by feeling the atmosphere in the castle, I'll know what happened. That's true. Young Madam also pitted us. Once the young master becomes scary, the castle is like hell. It makes me feel cold all over. But although they quarrel, I feel that the young master still dotes on young Madam. Why do you say that? Didn't you see the young master's expression when he was standing beside young Madam just now? Although it was very ugly, it didn't wake young Madam up. Ah, look, the deputy supervisor even brought a thin blanket. The young master must have asked him to bring it, afraid that young Madam would catch a cold. The other servants looked over and indeed saw Zhongli walk to Tang Bao with a thin blanket and gently cover her. That's true. Although they quarrel, I feel that young Madam is so happy. I've been reading a CEO novel recently. The male lead in it is very domineering, but I still feel that he's not as domineering as the young master. He dotes on his wife so much that he has no principles at all. That's right. Anyway, ever since young Madam was born, the young master has always lowered his head to her first. How about this? Let's make a bet to see who will lower his head first this time, okay? I bet on the young master. I bet on the young master too. I bet on the young master too. Why isn't anyone betting that young Madam will lower her head first? Humph, if you bet that young Madam will lower her head first, you'll lose. I don't believe it. I have to bet that young Madam will lower her head first, the little servant said unhappily. Tang Bao woke up naturally and realized that the sunlight couldn't shine through. She returned to the hall. When she saw Zhongli, she asked, "Where's Di Haotian?" "Young Madam, the young master went to pick up the child." "Oh." Tang Bao walked to the sofa and sat down. She had just woken up and was still a little dazed. However, when her phone rang and she saw the caller ID, she was slightly awake. "Have you found out?" Tang Bao's voice was slightly hoarse. "Yes, I found out. This is a female celebrity's alternate Weibo account. That female celebrity is called Mia, but I've never heard of this celebrity. Did she just come out? She actually used a smurf account to talk nonsense behind my back. How despicable!" Tang Bao was not surprised at all when he heard the truth. She knew it. If Mia was such a well-behaved person, she would have made a mistake. In fact, she was quite a good judge of character. She's in the same crew as Qing Ju. She's an artist under Tsang Hong. Don't worry, just leave her be for now. I'll deal with her, Tang Bao said. Yes. After hanging up the phone, Tang Bao held his phone and thought about how to deal with this matter. Announce Mia's alternate account and main account together? But if that was the case, would it be dangerous for the Mia? Tang Bao felt that it was absolutely necessary to announce that she was Mia, but not now. This was because all the fans, reporters, and onlookers were now looking at her. If they were to reveal Mia's bad intentions at this time, it would be disadvantageous to them. People would say that Mia exploded because she couldn't stand it anymore, and that she was a person with a sense of justice. At that time, wouldn't it make things worse for Tang Bao? Who would listen to her explanation? She might as well pretend that she didn't find out and let Mia let her guard down and get carried away. When the time came and clarified, she would deal a blow to her. Such a scheming person, he definitely shouldn't give her any face. Even if she was spared, she would not be grateful at all. Instead, she would be even more rampant behind her back. The phone in her hand rang. Tang Bao looked at it and saw that it was an unfamiliar number. Her number was confidential, and reporters would not be able to find her number. Who was it? She picked up. However, as soon as the call connected, the voice on the other end sounded very angry. "Tang Gu, I didn't expect you to be such a person. How dare you frame me?" Tang Bao was confused by the sudden voice. "You're Xiao Shuyan? Why, you didn't expect me to come to you, did you?" "Indeed, I didn't expect you to accuse me first," Tang Bao said calmly, one hand on the pillow next to him. When the three children were playing on the sofa in the living room, they accidentally dirted the pillow and couldn't wash it off. Zhang Li said it was a pity when he changed it. Only then did Tang Bao know that the pillow cost hundreds of thousands. Every time Tang Bao sat on the sofa, it was as if he was sitting on a pile of money. If a pillow cost so much, wouldn't the sofa be even more expensive? I'm the one who accuses you first? Am I crazy? Why would I slander myself like that? Xiao Shuyan couldn't believe it. Then go and look at the comments on the internet. It seems that I'm more pitiful than you, right? Xiao Shuyan was speechless for a moment and choked. Because she did see the attacks on the internet. According to the percentage, 80% of them were attacking Tango. Is it really not you? But if it's not you, who else could it be? Tang Bao rolled his eyes in his heart. Was her brain kicked by a donkey? I don't know. If Tang Bao told her who he suspected, this brainless girl would definitely expose him immediately. Did you offend anyone recently? How did I offend anyone? You're the one who offended someone, right? Otherwise, why would the internet attack you? Oh, this time she hit the nail on the head. That's right. It was so obvious that even Xiao Shuyan could feel it. Did you want to get close to me in the beginning, or did someone introduce you to me? Have you told anyone about it? Yes. Who? Qingju. No? Xiao Shuyan thought for a moment. There really is one, the female celebrity called Mia. She told me that you like beautiful women and wanted to get close to you as long as she gave herself to you. But I don't think it's her. We all know Mia's personality in the crew. She's nice to everyone and even buys us food. If she's really so annoying, she wouldn't be so nice to us. Tang Bao couldn't help but complain. He had just praised her in his heart, but she revealed her true colors again. But Xiao Shuyan couldn't be blamed. She knew too well what kind of scheming Mia was. She liked to cater to others. Then, she quickly got along with others and birds of a feather flocked together. Just as he was on the phone with Xiao Shuyan, Di Haotian came back with the two babies. Mommy! Mommy! The two babies ran happily towards Tang Bao with their short legs. Then, they stuck to Tang Bao. Tang Bao smiled and patted their heads. Then, he gently poked their pink and tender little faces. He felt that they were especially bouncy and cute. Anyway, he didn't look at Di Haotian. As he played, he had to call Xiao Shuyan. Chapter 1048. I'm still angry. Don't touch me. Tang Bao was furious. She insisted on getting off Di Haotian's body. She did not even care if she would fall and fall. How could Di Haotian let her fall? It was even more impossible for him to let go. He carried her directly into the room. He threw Tang Bao onto the bed and pressed her down forcefully like a mountain. Ah, you. Di Haotian's dark eyes emitted a sharp light. The deep vortex in them was boiling, as if he was suppressing something. I can't sleep without you. Tang Bao, who was struggling, suddenly froze. She forgot to react and stared blankly into Di Haotian's dark eyes that were about to swallow her whole. Her heart was thumping wildly. Was he saying that he could not sleep without her? That he could not sleep without her? Therefore, when Di Haotian kissed her, she did not react. After she reacted, there was no room for her to struggle. She was already completely under Di Haotian's control. What did he mean by saying that she could not sleep without him? He clearly wanted her. The devil! He kissed her until she was hovering between life and death before letting her go. Tang Bao looked at the dark figure above her with tears in her eyes. She felt dizzy and lacked oxygen. How could she still be angry after being kissed like this? It was already good enough that she had some oxygen. You'll let me go out tomorrow, right? Tang Bao asked while panting. Her small face was bright red. No. Di Haotian looked at her with his deep and sharp eyes. Why not? I've already let you kiss me. Tang Bao said very reasonably. Didn't you deliberately not talk to me because you didn't want me to touch you? Di Haotian looked at her dangerously. Tang Bao could not help but laugh. However, she immediately suppressed it and held it back. You're talking nonsense. I'm not. I'm really angry. Don't you think I'm angry? Moreover, you locked me in the castle and did not let me out. Isn't that a heinous crime? Or should I be happy that you're treating me this way? Of course I don't want to sleep in the same room as you. How could Di Haotian not see through the cover-up in Tang Bao's words? It was not as if he did not see the smile at the corner of his mouth. This little thing really couldn't do anything to her. And he didn't want to sleep at night without her in his arms. He thought that since the Tang Bao was back, he would not have any trouble sleeping alone. But he found that he had an obstacle in this regard. Previously, they had slept separately because of an argument, so he couldn't fall asleep the whole night. Now, he didn't want to do it again. Even if he had to tie her up, he wanted to tie her up by his side. Are you still angry? Di Haotian asked in a low voice. Tang Bao met Di Haotian's deep, dark eyes. Her eyes flashed. She was no longer angry because of Di Haotian's kiss. But wouldn't it be too unprincipled of her to be coaxed so easily? So, she said, no, not at all. I'm still very angry now. I'm so angry that I'm going crazy. Tang Bao was talking enthusiastically when a shadow suddenly fell on her. She was so frightened that she stopped abruptly. Their lips were only about a millimeter apart, as if they were in danger of sticking to each other at any time. And Di Haotian's suddenness made her feel as if she was standing in an open space, and then a huge rock suddenly fell from the sky. Just when she thought it was going to hit her, the huge rock suddenly stopped. Her heart was beating unrealistically. It was so difficult. Why did you stop talking? Di Haotian's dark eyes were about to turn into water when he saw her adorable stunned expression when she was frightened, and he wanted to drown the person below him. Tang Bao was about to speak. Di Haotian spoke first in a low and hoarse voice, then don't say any more. After saying that, he blocked Tang Bao's bright red lips again. Tang Bao's breathing stopped, and her face turned red. She was furious. Who said that I'm not going to say it? How can I say it when you're blocking my mouth? However, Di Haotian did not give her a chance to speak again. What happened next was naturally indescribable. In a corner of the castle, there was a gamble going on. There were winners and losers. I'm not convinced. There was only one person who lost, and it was the maid who bet that Tang Bao would bow down first. What are you not convinced about? Didn't you see how young master went to Mrs. Room to look for young madam? Also, when he came out, young madam was very angry. Young master even carried young madam back to her room with a doting expression. Didn't you see it when you were with me? Another maid said. That's right. You have to admit defeat. Do you understand? I told you not to gamble with luck, but you didn't listen. Now that you've lost, who can you blame? The maid really wanted to cry but had no tears. Why can't young master break it off for once? Next time, you'll have to remember. Just as they were collecting the money, the supervisor suddenly appeared. They were so scared that they quickly put away the money. However, Li En still saw it, and the maid didn't dare to pick up the money that fell to the ground. What are you doing? Li En looked at them sternly. The male and female servants lowered their heads and didn't say anything. You're not going to say it? Li En asked. How would they dare to not say it? The maid who lost lowered her head and said that she had no choice. She was the only one who lost. Perhaps she had nothing to lose. Supervisor, we were gambling. Gambling? Since when can we gamble in the castle? Li En seemed to ask with an uncertain tone. It wasn't a very strict voice, but it was enough to make them not dare to breathe loudly. Supervisor, I'm sorry. We didn't do it on purpose. Actually, we didn't bet on anything else. We just bet on who would give in first if young master and young madam quarreled. Then we found out that it was young master, so… Aren't you getting bolder and bolder? Betting on young master and young madam? Li En's tone became heavier. Is there a need to bet on such a thing? When the other servants heard this, they thought, why did it sound like there was no need to bet? It was definitely young master who would give in first? However, they didn't dare to say it out loud. What if they misunderstood the supervisor's words? wouldn't they suffer even more? I'll let it go this time, but there won't be a next time. When they heard that Leon let them go, they immediately heaved a sigh of relief and laughed. However, the next second they laughed out loud. Hand over all the money. Supervisor, we don't want it, right? It wasn't easy for me to win. Then you want one person to take turns to be responsible for the cleaning of the entire castle? Leon asked. They were so shocked that they turned pale. No need, Supervisor. We'll pay. Then, they hurriedly handed the money to the supervisor. There was no choice. The work of the entire castle was divided. If one person did it, even if he didn't sleep for 24 hours, he wouldn't be able to complete it. Losing the money was a small matter, but losing their lives was a big matter. Tang Bao hadn't woken up in the morning. She reached out and hugged Di Haotian's arm. Di Haotian turned to look at her. Chapter 1049. Then, she slowly opened her eyes. She still looked very sleepy. This was all Di Haotian's fault. She did not sleep well last night. I'll let you go. As soon as Di Haotian said this, Tang Bao's head rested on the bed. She breathed evenly and fell asleep again. Her beautiful shoulders were exposed, and there were red bite marks on her fair skin. It made one's imagination run wild. Di Haotian's gaze fell on Tang Bao's body. Then, he lifted the blanket completely. Tang Bao was naked under the blanket. Di Haotian's dark eyes suddenly darkened. However, when he saw the red bite marks on her skin, he was very satisfied with his masterpiece. Tang Bao, who was sleeping, felt a sense of insecurity. She shrank her body and groaned, "Stop messing with me." Di Haotian let her go and covered her with the blanket. He did not look again. Otherwise, the two of them would not have to go out today. Di Haotian did not go to tea in the morning. He came back after dropping the children off. Tang Bao woke up from the bed and was surprised to see Di Haotian sitting on the sofa in front of the computer in the bedroom. Di Haotian, have you not gone out yet? Or did you go out and come back? I came back after dropping them off at school. You're not going to tea today? Tang Bao asked. Let's go together after lunch. You're here to drop me off? You don't have to go through so much trouble. It's not like I don't have a car. You're the one who assigned the chauffeur, okay? What's there to worry about? I want to go with you, Di Haotian said directly. Tang Bao's face heated up, but she did not say anything else. Tang Bao got out of bed and moved her body with difficulty. However, she felt Di Haotian's gaze on her. It felt so real when it fell on her body. However, she tried her best to ignore it. As long as she did not flirt with Di Haotian, she was safe. After lunch, he left the castle with Di Haotian. Tang Bao got out of the car at the entrance of the studio. Di Haotian was really strange. He could have entered tea from the underground parking lot, but he insisted on going together. He made it look very ostentatious. Before he entered the office, Tang Bao could imagine the scene behind him without looking back. She suddenly turned around, and the whispering crowd immediately dispersed. Did he think she couldn't see it? Little Ding said, Hee, President Tang, they're not talking about you. They're talking about work. Do you have to be so nervous about talking about work? The meeting starts in 10 minutes, Tang Bao said. All right. 10 minutes later, they gathered in the conference room. Tang Bao walked in and adjusted his bow tie. Recently, I've become a popular person on the internet. You should all know about it, right? He's even more popular than Mengshi Qingjue. This statement was rather humorous. The others couldn't help but laugh. President Tang, I think you're quite suitable to debut. That's right, President Tang. If you debut, the other artists will have nothing to eat. If that's the case, it's better for you to be an agent. Who wants to kidnap my agent? The voice was heard before the person arrived. Then, he saw Mengshi and Qingju walking in together. Mengshi pulled a chair and sat down at the table with a displeased expression. Qingju also sat down. Brother Mengshi, who would dare to kidnap President Tang? We're all joking. We just feel that President Tang is more popular than you now. Don't be jealous. No, I won't be jealous, but I won't allow anyone to touch a tiger's head. Mengxi's gaze turned cold. Everyone present understood what he meant and what he was referring to. The content of Tang Bao's meeting was about the incident on the internet. Tang Bao leaned back slightly and said, "It's not hard to see that someone is messing with me. However, it's not my first day in the entertainment industry. I've seen all kinds of storms. It's a completely trivial matter. You guys can do whatever you need to do. Mengxi and Qingju can continue filming their own scenes and pretend that nothing happened." "President Tang, what kind of villain would do this to you? Do you know that Xiao Shuyan?" an employee asked. "I'm afraid there's no one in the entertainment industry who doesn't know Xiao Shuyan, but I've never interacted with her before," Tang Bao said. "President Tang, could it be that Xiao Shuyan has taken a fancy to you?" An employee made a bold guess and asked with a smile. "That's right. President Tang is so handsome and elegant. Who wouldn't like a girl when they see him?" Tang Bao smiled. "I'm a man with a family. I can't just stick to someone just because they like me." "No way? President Tang, are you really married? We've only heard about it." "President Tang, aren't you too good at keeping it a secret?" "President Tang, I wonder which beauty is so lucky to be favored by President Tang?" "President Tang, if you have a family, then the young master." That person had just finished speaking when the person beside him stepped on his foot. Then, he immediately stopped talking. Mengxi's expression was very ugly. "If you say another word, I'll tear your mouth off." Mengxi was usually very easy to talk to, but his temper came faster and fiercer. It was unbearable. Therefore, that person immediately didn't dare to speak. "That's enough. I didn't tell you that I have a family because I don't think it has anything to do with work, so there's no need to say it." Tang Bao stopped there and made them feel that he had a family, so they had doubts about her relationship with Di Haotian. Anyway, she didn't deny that the other half of her family was Di Haotian. "Let's talk about those attacks on the internet. Although I said that there's no need to pay attention to them, you still need to pay attention to their movements, especially that Mia's alternate account. I told you about it, right?" "Don't worry, President Tang. We've been keeping an eye on it. That Mia's alternate account isn't very active, but she's very smart. Every time, she appears in a timely manner and plays a role in creating momentum. Now, the internet is saying that you like both men and women. They even said that Xiao Shuyan is a victim." Qingju said, "This is the effect of public relations." "But President Tang, if we don't say anything, is that okay?" Xiao Ding asked. "Just say something today. You don't need to say anything else. Just say that you're friends with Xiao Shuyan. It's normal to meet friends. It's fine as long as you don't admit it," Tang Bao said. Before the others could understand what was going on, Mengxi approached Tang Gu with a fawning expression. Tang Gu glared at him coldly before he sat up properly. "Gu, you're too smart. You're taking advantage of this popularity to create momentum for Qing Ju's new show." Tang Bao didn't deny it. "There's also your show. It's going to be broadcast in half a month. Since we've started the fire, we naturally can't let it go out." Mengxi sneered. "If it's about to go out, we'll add some firewood," Tang Bao said. "Then what firewood do we have?" "There's not much point in repeating today's statement," Qingju asked. Tang Bao's clear eyes were calm and sharp as he looked at everyone below the stage and said, "This is why I asked you to keep an eye on Mia's alternate account." Chapter 1050. This Mia is a newcomer. She definitely doesn't know how to survive in the entertainment industry. Tang Bao thought to himself, how is this Mia not knowing how to survive in the entertainment industry? She's not interested in it at all. So, we just need to be calm. No storm can break us, Tang Bao said. But this storm is still quite scary. Mr. Tang, you don't know how many fans gathered here yesterday. It was scary. There were also many people in black uniforms. I'm thinking that they should be young Emperor's people. I only see people like that around young Emperor. That's right. Those brainless fans came to our studio and wanted to bet on Mr. Tang. If they really bet on him, that would be scary. Fans came to cause trouble yesterday. Tang Bao frowned slightly. Yes, there were so many. They even wanted to enter our studio to cause trouble. Fortunately, young Emperor's bodyguards stopped them. Otherwise, our studio would have been smashed. Tang Bao lowered his gaze slightly. Other than Di Haotian, Tang Bao didn't believe that anyone else would do this. In other words, Di Haotian was quarreling with her and getting angry while dealing with the matters here? Tang Bao couldn't help but smile when he thought of the two of them quarreling fiercely yesterday. When Meng Shi saw the sweet smile on Tang Bao's face, his expression instantly turned extremely ugly. What bodyguards? Don't treat the gangsters as bodyguards. Be careful that I don't call the police. Meng Shi slammed the table loudly. Tang Bao looked at him speechlessly. Are you crazy? How am I crazy? I'm telling the truth. These people only know how to worship me here. You should worship me the most. Do you understand? Meng Shi's face was cold as he lectured them one by one. The others didn't say anything. Although they didn't know why Meng Shi was angry, they were all dumbfounded. However, it was precisely because they didn't know the reason that they had to find evidence for him to see. Xiao Zhao from the technical department showed the video to Meng Shi and Tang Bao. This was captured by the surveillance camera yesterday. When he opened it, Tang Bao saw those crazy fans shouting at the entrance of the studio. There were reporters holding up cameras and fans holding up signs as if they were rebelling. Tang Bao was a little scared when she saw this. If she was really blocked, her car would be overturned by them. Soon, several cars drove into the square. Bodyguards dressed in black got out of the cars and silently approached the fans. They raised their hands and fired a shot. Those people were so scared that they were stupefied on the spot. Tang Bao was also stunned. She wouldn't believe that it wasn't Di Haotian who had called them over. Wasn't Di Haotian being too presumptuous? Was he going to shoot just like that? However, she felt that if she didn't shoot them, even the police wouldn't be able to stop them. Tang Bao was a little embarrassed and signaled little Zhao to turn off the video. President Tang, I think the young master is so cool. With young Master Di around, we don't have to worry about anything, right? Someone started to worship him. Tang Bao could only say, we're all neighbors. It's not a big deal to help. Don't exaggerate. Meng Shi was the first to agree. That's right. Are your brains made to look good? Use your brains more. It's just along the way. Otherwise, it'll implicate T. After all, this is still T's territory. At this point, Meng Shi's eyes suddenly had a strange smile. However, the others didn't dare to laugh out loud. They felt especially scared. If you really admire T so much, I think you can go after him. If young Master D likes you, think about it. Why would he need to work here? Go and be his wife. What do you think? The others didn't expect Meng Shi to say such a thing. They really didn't think of it that way, because they knew their own capabilities. Moreover, they had always felt that the young Master D and President Tang were a couple. President Tang directly admitted that he had a family, which simply reversed their usual understanding. However, they couldn't do it just because President Tang might not have that kind of relationship with the young Master D. Of course, there were still curious people. Brother Meng, if it's about doing it, do you think it's better to be a man or a woman? Meng Shi smiled evilly. If you're happy, you can all do it together. I think that young Master D's appetite is so big that he won't mind. Brother Meng, I think the most promising person in our studio is you. Ha ha, that's right. Brother Meng, you're the most handsome person here. Meng Shi's face darkened. He King liked Tang Gu as a person, not a man. What nonsense were they talking about? The more Tang Bao listened, the more he couldn't stand it. Moreover, these people were talking about her husband and how to climb into her husband's bed. This was too King evil. He rubbed his sore temples and said, Meeting adjourned. Just as he reached the office door, Di Haotian called. Come and take a nap. You're not going to do it again, are you? I can't take it anymore. If you want me, I won't go over. Di Haotian's voice was cold and dangerous. If I want you, what's the use of you hiding in the studio? Tang Bao's face twitched. He was really useless. I'll go over in a while. Tang Bao stared at Weibo and saw the statement that Xiao Ding had posted in the name of the studio. It was quickly drowned out by the comment. They were all negative emotions. Tang Bao only found it funny. To be honest, when those keyboard players scolded people, if they couldn't take it, they would directly scold her until she had depression. Tang Bao scrolled down and found Mia's alternate account. It was like a piece of rat poop in the porridge. It wasn't easy to be discovered. However, she had already instructed Xiao Ding not to let go of any of her comments. It would be very useful to keep it. So, you can slowly sow discord. Qingju and Meng Shi's Weibo were even funnier. The fans were very worried that their band manager would affect their future and wanted them to quickly change managers. Then, Tang Bao also found Mia's alternate account under their Weibo. Naturally, they were saying bad things and fanning the flames. They were really pervasive. At that time, because of the video incident, the fans and officials still thought that she was a good manager. Now that something had happened, the wind had changed. Tang Bao didn't care. Such a thing wasn't rare in the entertainment industry. Or rather, it wasn't strange anywhere. Fans liked a celebrity today and another celebrity tomorrow. Even celebrities liked to change managers. However, Tang Bao believed that no matter how these people persuaded them, Meng Shi and Qingju wouldn't want to change managers. She was so sure. Tang Bao turned off his computer and went to tea. Along the way, he felt strange gazes looking at him. She turned a blind eye to them. There were very few people who didn't know about such big entertainment news. Chapter 1051. More importantly, she had a close relationship with Di Haotian. This was very intriguing. Tang Bao knocked on the door and pushed it open. Di Haotian sat behind the black desk and looked at her with a frown. Why did you knock on the door? If I don't knock, I don't know what others will think of me. I've been looked at a lot on my way here. Those idiots. Di Haotian's eyes were cold. Tang Bao moved to the front of the desk and leaned on the table. She supported her chin with both hands and looked at Di Haotian with a smile. Why don't we go along with their wishes and have a fight? You want to play? Yes. Tang Bao was happy. Di Haotian held her tender face and bit her red lip. Naughty. Tang Bao was bitten so hard that her breathing stopped and her face turned red. She felt that Di Haotian's hot breath was burning her face. He panted lightly and let go of her slightly. Are you playing? Tang Bao asked in a low voice. No. Why? Tang Bao was unhappy and poked Di Haotian's face with her finger. Why not? Isn't it fun? Aren't the ones on the internet enough? This is very normal. I don't care. I care. Di Haotian stared at her deeply with his black eyes. His gaze was so sharp that it seemed to drill into her soul. Do you know that I don't even dare to look at them? I'm afraid that I'll hunt them down and burn their bones to ashes. Tang Bao laughed when she heard that. Poking his face was even more amusing. You're too scary. Are you afraid? Di Haotian asked as he looked at her intently. Tang Bao shook her head with a smile. I'm not afraid of anything. She was bragging a little too much. But bragging in front of Di Haotian was a big deal. She did not care. Most importantly, Di Haotian indulged her bragging. Yes. Then don't mess with me, Tang Bao threatened. Does this count as? Di Haotian's thin lips kissed her small mouth. Tang Bao only felt that his breath was being taken away, and he dodged slightly. I should really make a call now and make those platforms disappear. Tang Bao was shocked. Don't. If you want those media platforms to disappear, do you still want me to work? Her artists relied on such platforms for publicity. Without a place to advertise, what was she going to do? Although she wouldn't starve, her job would be over. What about Meng Shi and Qing Ju? Absolutely not. Di Haotian bit Tang Bao as a punishment. He only let go when she groaned in pain. That's exactly why I didn't do anything. Then let those people off for my sake. Tang Bao poked Di Haotian's face with her finger coquettishly. Di Haotian directly pulled her onto his body and looked at her with his dark eyes. It depends on my mood. Surely I don't have to sacrifice myself just to protect something that's not beneficial to me? Tang Bao asked in disbelief. Di Haotian's dark eyes rippled slightly, and he looked evil and dangerous. Don't plead for mercy for anyone. I won't be happy. How is this pleading? I'm just trying to reason with you. You don't have to reason with me. As long as you say something nice, I'll listen to you. Tang Bao's eyes were just about to light up when she heard Di Haotian say, "Don't even think about it." Tang Bao's open mouth silently closed. She wanted to ask if that included the thing on the bed. She did not expect that before she could say it, Di Haotian would kill it. Sigh, she was too obvious. Di Haotian kissed her little mouth to comfort her. Go to sleep. Then he carried Tang Bao in his arms. Tang Bao's face was hot. I can walk on my own. Is it not good to be carried by your husband? How could Tang Bao dare to say that it was not good? She just felt that with Di Haotian around, it was as if her legs were superfluous. After Tang Bao entered the room, she hid in the cloakroom to change into her pajamas. After changing, she came out and was surprised to see Di Haotian standing there waiting for her. He did not enter the cloakroom and touch her all over before finally returning to the bed. When Tang Bao climbed onto the bed, Di Haotian went to the fitting room again. When he came out, he had also changed into his pajamas. Then he went to bed. Tang Bao stared blankly at Di Haotian, who had changed. It can't be? He became a gentleman? Why are you disappointed? Di Haotian saw through Tang Bao's expression and asked. Tang Bao came back to her senses and quickly shook her head. Of course not. Sleep, sleep. Di Haotian reached out and hugged her tightly. He did not watch her change because he was afraid that he would not be able to control himself. Once he started, he would not be able to stop. Last night, he was more ruthless with her, so he let her go today. Moreover, he still had something to deal with in the afternoon. Di Haotian was a light sleeper and did not sleep for long. He woke up about 20 minutes later. Tang Bao was sleeping in his arms with her face red. It was peaceful and beautiful. Di Haotian kissed her red lips for a long time before he was willing to let go. After he let go, there was a glistening liquid on her lips. It was left by Di Haotian. He was about to wipe it away with his long and rough fingers, but he stopped and let the liquid stain her lip. He walked out of the lounge. Di Haotian called his secretary. Young master. After knocking on the door and entering, the secretary stood respectfully. Those online platforms are the biggest players now. Buy them all. Di Haotian's face was cold as he looked at the computer screen in front of him. The secretary was stunned. Young master, are you serious? Di Haotian looked up with his cold black eyes. Do you have any objections? No, I'll investigate immediately. The secretary said and went back to work. Then, he was busy in the afternoon. He understood the online media platforms and checked their business scope. As long as it was related to the entertainment industry, Di Haotian was interested in it. Anyway, Tang Bao did not know that Di Haotian was doing this. She thought that Di Haotian really did not want her to make things difficult for other media platforms. However, since it was a tea business, Di Junbai would definitely know. Such a large-scale acquisition, even if it was not the biggest acquisition in tea, was not a small matter. Besides, Di Haotian attached great importance to this matter. Even if he did not ask, Di Junbai knew why. The person who was most concerned about the Tang Bao situation was Lan Wanru. She could not go to the castle or the bungalow, so she could only ask Di Junbai. At night, Di Junbai sat on the bench by the pool and read a book. Lan Wanru walked over. Brother! Why aren't you asleep yet? Di Junbai put down the book and asked. I just took medicine and can't sleep. Lan Wanru sat down on the chair. Something on your mind? Why don't you tell me? Brother Haotian has a man by his side. If this man is always around, I may never be happy. Di Junbai sighed and looked away. But he doesn't understand your feelings. This is his problem. It's not your fault. Thinking too much will only hurt your body. Chapter 1052. I know about this too. But I think very few people don't know about it, especially those who know him. They'll pay more attention to this matter, Di Junbai said. I knew that Tengu would go to tea whenever he had time. Could it be that he's still like this after something like this happened recently? Brother Haotian probably doesn't like him anymore, right? Lan Wanru felt that Tengu wouldn't have a good ending after this matter came out. You're wrong. This matter won't affect either of them. The only thing that will be affected is Tang Ji's work. Lan Wanru couldn't believe it. How is that possible? Holding hands with other women in the washroom was a small matter, but this time, Tengu went to a hotel room with someone. Wanru, no matter how many women Tengu goes to a hotel room with, we won't let Di Haotian abandon him. Why? Why can't we change? That kind of B** starred. Lan Wanru was so angry that his face turned white. He looked so fragile that he could fall at any moment. She had planned so carefully, but in the end, she didn't get anything. What was this? Did Di Haotian love Tengu so much that it didn't matter if he betrayed him? I think it's because of that face. With that face, Di Haotian won't touch him, Di Junbai said. Lan Wanru suddenly thought of the chess piece in her hand and sneered. Face? Can a face similar to Tang Bao change Brother Haotian's mind? If that's the case, then it's not a difficult thing to do. What did you say? Nothing. Brother, sleep early. I'll go back to my room first. Okay. After Lan Wanru went back to his room, he called Mia. It's useless. What? It's already like this and it's still not working? Mia was shocked. The king of D-City still didn't kick Tengu out. Not only that, but he's also protected him well. Xiao Shuyan's fans can't even get close to Tengu. I'm thinking that as long as it's someone you love, no matter if it's a man or a woman, you won't be so calm when you encounter such a thing, right? It's obviously abnormal, Mia said. What do you know? The only person Brother Haotian loved was Tang Bao. Tengu was just a substitute for his deceased ex-wife. Or perhaps it was because of that face. That's why I wanted you to have plastic surgery to look like this. Since this method didn't work, then find an opportunity to do it yourself. I want you to replace Tengu. Don't worry. I will. After hanging up the phone, Lan Wanru weakly sat on the edge of the bed with tears in his eyes. She used to hate women who had bad intentions towards Di Haotian. As long as someone got close to her, she couldn't wait to make them disappear. But now, she was sending a woman to Di Haotian just to deal with Tengu. Didn't her heart ache? Of course it hurt. However, she wouldn't care about Mia. As long as Tengu was pushed away, she would have a way to deal with Mia. Deep in the bar's private room, a man knelt in front of Di Haotian and begged, "Young master, please, don't buy my media platform. I have elders and children to take care of. I can't not have a company." I took a look. Your media platform is doing well. I'm very interested. It's my fortune to be able to catch young master's eye. But if I don't have a company, I'll have nothing. The man continued to cry. How can you have nothing? It's not like I'm not giving you money. Ah? You're giving me money? The man was stunned. He thought that Di Haotian was trying to rob him and force him into a corner. How much is your media platform worth? I'll give you double. Di Haotian was full of pride. The man was dumbfounded. Although his media platform was doing well and was one of the best in the industry, wasn't it a little too exaggerated to buy him double? I'm a very easy person to talk to. If you don't sell, I'll use force. Think about it. Di Haotian sat on the sofa lazily and gloomily. He had a strong aura and held a wine glass in his hand. It was as if the liquid in the glass wasn't wine, but poison, emitting a fatal luster. This was called being easy to talk to? This was clearly a threat, okay? But did he still have the right to choose? Di Haotian seemed to be very kind to him. If he refused, then he would have no company and no money. To be honest, he felt that the company would be snatched away and he would have no money at all. He was actually giving him money? And it was double? Why did he feel like he had taken advantage of him? Did this feeling carry a tinge of sadness? Have you thought about it? I've thought about it. I'll sell the company. Gu Linshan walked in. If you're not selling, then what are you waiting for? Money falls from the sky. Others don't have such good luck. The man kneeling on the ground was speechless. Get out. What are you still doing here? Gu Linshan sat down on the sofa. The man glanced at Di Haotian. Seeing that he didn't say anything, he stood up and left the private room. I was wondering why you went out so easily at night. So you had something to do and wanted to have a drink with me. Gu Linshan poured a glass of wine and drank it in one gulp. The wine stain on his lips was very seductive. Di Haotian looked at his wristwatch. I'll be back in half an hour. You don't have to be so henpecked, do you? Gu Linshan sneered. The Tang Bao is getting more and more powerful now. He's so strict with the king of D City. Di Haotian didn't say anything. Gu Linshan smiled faintly. Are you happy to hear that I'm giving you so much face? Not bad. Then let me put it bluntly. You don't have to worry about the Tang Bao. You'll run back on your own. You can't stay outside. Your wife won't run away. What are you worried about? Di Haotian wasn't angry. He wanted to go back as soon as he was done with his business and didn't intend to wait for Gu Linshan. However, Gu Linshan had arrived on time and delayed him by half an hour. He had already given Gu Linshan a lot of face. Di Haotian looked at him coldly. Your wife isn't at home. It wasn't a question. It was a statement. Gu Linshan's face stiffened. He drank his wine calmly. Luoluoli was staying at her mother's place for the night. She said that a daughter who couldn't get married was like water that had been spilled. Her mother was lonely and pitiful at home alone. If he still didn't agree, she would cry to him. How could Gu Linshan not agree? He was thinking that since Luo Meiwan didn't want his house, he would buy another one for Luo Meiwan. If Luoluoli went back, he could sleep there too. The pot calling the kettle black, Di Haotian said coldly. Gu Linshan had nothing to say. He felt embarrassed. After all, he had been mocking Di Haotian. Chapter 1053. You seem to be jealous? Di Haotian looked at him coldly. Why would I be jealous of you? I think you should arrange a few more men for your woman so that you don't have anything to do all day. Gu Linshan's face immediately tensed up. Don't do anything rash. It was obvious that Di Haotian was jealous of him. What are you worried about? If there really isn't anything, your worry is unnecessary. No. Di Haotian, you want to fight. Gu Linshan's face was about to darken, but after thinking about it, he decided to compromise. Consider it my loss, okay? Tang Bao is now in the form of a man, and you're already so agitated. If there really is a man trying to please Luoluoli, I'll kill him. Di Haotian put down the wine glass in his hand and got up to go to the washroom. There was a washroom in the private room. When Di Haotian was about to go in, the floor was full of water. His face was cold. He felt that something was wrong. He walked over and saw the floor full of water. Young master, I'm sorry. This is my mistake. Have you checked it? Yes, there was no water when I checked it. It must have leaked later. I'll get someone to change the private room. No need. I'll go to the washroom outside. Di Haotian turned around and left the private room with a cold face. He and the bodyguard naturally followed him. They stood not far away from the washroom. Di Haotian entered the men's washroom and stood in front of the urinal. He didn't go back to the private room. He went straight back. Just as Di Haotian was urinating, someone walked in. Di Haotian didn't say that outsiders couldn't come in, but the person who came in was a woman. Mia entered the washroom. She was going to the women's washroom, but she turned and pushed open the men's washroom. Di Haotian's back was facing her. However, Mia just looked at Di Haotian's imposing back and couldn't help but stare. He was tall and had a noble aura. She was slightly dazed. Di Haotian sensed that something was wrong behind him. He turned around and saw a woman. However, when he saw the woman's face, he was slightly stunned. Mia had never seen Di Haotian in real life before. Looking at him now, she felt that her heart was beating erratically. This was a feeling she would never have when looking at other good-looking men. Sorry, I went to the wrong toilet. I'm sorry. Di Haotian's pressure was too strong. She had no choice but to come back to her senses and leave the men's room apologetically. After walking out, she didn't leave immediately. Instead, she stood at the door of the washroom. Not long after, Di Haotian walked out. His gaze fell on Mia's face. With a shy expression, Mia said, "I'm really sorry. I didn't see anything. You won't blame me, right?" Di Haotian looked at her sharply. "What's your name?" "My name is Mia." "You're not bad looking," Di Haotian commented. This comment made Mia happy, but she didn't show it too much. She only said, "Thank you." Di Haotian retracted his gaze and turned to leave. Hee-ju followed behind Di Haotian. When he left, he turned back to look at Mia. After walking out of the bar, Hee-ju said, "Young master, that's the female celebrity that Vice President Zhou said he saw at the Tsonghong annual gala. She looks very similar to young madam. When Malay told me that night, I didn't think it would be very similar. Now, it seems very similar. No matter how similar they look, it's still a pirated face. What's there to care about?" Hee-ju thought so too, but why did Di Haotian ask for someone else's name? He wouldn't really treat a woman who looked like Tang Bao differently, right? After getting into the car, Di Haotian's dark eyes looked out of the car window. He didn't explain his abnormal behavior to anyone. However, after returning, Di Haotian's expression darkened. Zhang Li saw the black figure disappear at the stairs and immediately pulled Lien. "Supervisor, did you see young master's expression?" Lien looked at the hand that was holding his hand. Only then did Zhang Li realize his rashness. He quickly let go and stood there obediently. Lien acted as if nothing had happened and said, "I saw it. I think young master is angry again. Why is he always angry at young madam?" Lien looked at her in a new light. "How do you know that he's angry at young madam? Isn't he? Other than young madam, who else could young master be angry at? Anyway, no matter what it is, it must be related to young madam. Sigh, it's only been a few days and there's another conflict. Young madam is also very unrestrained. She doesn't know how to restrain herself in front of young master." Zhang Li shook his head and sighed worriedly. Lien was speechless. Tang Bao was sitting on the sofa, eating fruit while reading the gossip news on the internet. There were still negative news about her, but all the photos were gone. Otherwise, her face would be on the wanted list soon. However, recently, Di Haotian didn't let her take the car alone. Di Haotian drove her around. She had become a big star and had to be protected when she went out. But to be honest, if it weren't for Di Haotian, she really couldn't guarantee that she would have a carefree and undisturbed life now. After all, those brainless fans were still very scary. The door was pushed open and Di Haotian walked in. "You're back." Tang Bao looked up and greeted him. However, when she saw Di Haotian's cold expression, she stopped chewing. "You. What's wrong? I didn't provoke you, did I? Who else could it be other than you?" Tang Bao expressed her innocence. "I didn't do anything. Besides, Di Haotian was the one who went out, not her." Di Haotian walked over and directly took the computer from her hand. His slender fingers tapped on the keyboard a few times and then pushed the screen in front of Tang Bao. Who is this person? On the screen was a promotional photo taken by Mia. After some refinement, it looked even more similar to her female face. Di Haotian knew? Zhou Jisen was the one who said that Zhou Jisen was present at Sang Hong's banquet? But it had been a few days and he only came to look for her now? Did Zhou Jisen tell you that? Answer my question. Di Haotian's face was cold. This person is Xiao Bao's oldest sister, Chen Zhaodi. Tang Bao knew that if she didn't say anything, Di Haotian would definitely investigate. If she said it, compared to Di Haotian's investigation, it would definitely be less serious. She would be lenient if she confessed. Seeing that Di Haotian's expression had become scary, Tang Bao quickly said, I didn't know that she went for plastic surgery. It really surprised me. But I have no right to interfere with her plastic surgery, so I didn't tell you about it. She wants to be a big star. Do you think I'm going to stop her? Do you think it's fun to do plastic surgery to look like you? Tang Bao's eyelids twitched. Why? Are you feeling pressured and afraid of falling in love with someone else? Di Haotian's expression instantly darkened. Tang Bao's little heart skipped a beat. Her eyes flickered and she didn't dare to look him in the eye. Chapter 1054. Tang Bao put down the fruit in her hand and went to Di Haotian's side. She reached out her fair hand and let go of Di Haotian's big hand. Then, she intertwined her fingers with his. Di Haotian's gaze fell on her fair hand and he focused slightly. Tang Bao rested her head on Di Haotian's shoulder. Don't you believe that I can handle it well? You weren't around for 3 years, but I did a good job. It's different now that I know. I know you don't want me to work hard, you don't want me to feel wronged, and you don't want me to be in danger. But I have to learn to grow. What do you need to grow up to be my woman? I'm not your father. I don't need you to grow up. What the F***ck Tang Bao lifted her pitiful little face and looked at him with sparkling eyes. My father won't spoil me like this. It's not good for you to spoil me like this. I'm happy to. Who dares to have an opinion? Di Haotian said coldly. Tang Bao thought that indeed, no one would dare to have an opinion. It's not like they're tired of living. She quickly kissed Di Haotian's thin lips and said, Didn't you say that I can go on a rampage on the road? Because you're the one who makes the rules. If that's the case, why are you stopping me? Do you really think that Chen Zhaodi did plastic surgery to look like me for no reason? I think she's here to seduce you. As long as you don't mess up, I won't lose. You're worried that I'll mess up? Di Haotian's dark eyes moved slightly. Tang Bao's worry made his heart palpitate, as if there was a ripple in his heart. Tang Bao heard Di Haotian's question and her face turned slightly red and hot. She thought about what she said, as long as you don't mess up, I won't lose. Why did this sentence sound like a confession? Just as she was thinking of how to explain herself, she felt a grip on her chin and was lifted up. She met Di Haotian's dark and dangerous eyes. Are you worried that I'll mess things up? Di Haotian asked again. He seemed to want to get to the bottom of this matter. Then Tang Bao said, Di Haotian, tell me, why do I like you? Why do I find myself liking you more and more? Di Haotian's hand, which was pinching Tang Bao's chin, suddenly trembled. His breathing became heavy, as if a soft little hand was tugging at his heart. His toughness was instantly broken. Tang Bao saw the change in Di Haotian's eyes. It was as if there was a terrifying whirlpool in them. She blushed and asked, Di Haotian, you used to be the second most important man in my heart. Now you've become the first. Who's second? Di Haotian's tough heart returned. My father. Now it's your turn. Tang Bao's hand touched Di Haotian's chest. His firm chest muscles rose and fell clearly. Her palm was pressed against Di Haotian's heart. His heartbeat was so clear in her palm. It was as if she had grabbed Di Haotian's fatal heart. Di Haotian, your heart is beating so fast. Tang Bao's clear eyes shone with tears. Di Haotian did not say anything. He just stared at Tang Bao with his dark eyes. He felt that Tang Bao was seducing him now. From his body to his heart. If she continued to seduce him, he felt that he would lose his life. Tang Bao got up and sat on Di Haotian's body. They were so close to each other. Then, she intimately tugged at Di Haotian's collar and deliberately messed it up. "Don't worry, I don't care about Emiya. She wants to steal my man. She's too confident in herself." As she spoke, she pursed her lips and kissed Di Haotian's thin lip. This time, it was Di Haotian's turn to feel suffocated. He could not bear to close his eyes and watch how Tang Bao kissed him. Tang Bao blushed. She had no choice but to close her eyes under Di Haotian's gaze. She did not want to see her shy side in Di Haotian's vast and dark eyes. Di Haotian's heart was not the only one beating fast. Her heart was beating so fast that it was about to jump out of her chest. I won't be able to take it." Di Haotian's hoarse voice came out of his throat. His magnetic sexiness and forceful suppression were like an impending storm. If it were not for the storm in his voice, Tang Bao really wanted to reply to him. Who was the one who couldn't take it? Would he also have a time when he couldn't take it? "Your passion only needs a little bit of it, and I will go crazy. Bao, your drug is too strong." Di Haotian bit back, causing Tang Bao, who was kissing lightly, to tremble all over. She held on to Di Haotian's broad shoulders with both hands. Soon, she was lost in the chaos of love and Di Haotian's violent storm. She liked the smell of Di Haotian's body, liked his fierce eyes, liked his craziness for her, liked him saying that he wanted to kill her, and liked his domineering love for her. Tang Bao felt that she must have gone crazy. She must have been led astray by Di Haotian. Otherwise, why would she think like that? Or was her idea a kind of possessiveness towards Di Haotian? Did she want to tell anyone that Di Haotian was hers, and no one could snatch him away? It turned out that she also knew how to be possessive. In the morning, when Zhang Li saw Di Haotian coming downstairs, she still looked at the stairs nervously. However, the atmosphere in the castle did not change. The young master also looked normal. Then, could it be said that there was no quarrel at all? The low pressure from the young master's return to the castle last night was gone. Then, she saw Di Haotian carrying food upstairs. Zhang Li heaved a sigh of relief. There was definitely no quarrel. This was really fortunate. It had to be said that working in the castle required a strong endurance. Otherwise, one would be scared to death by the young master's low pressure back and forth. Tang Bao was sleeping on the bed. She didn't wake up. Therefore, when Di Haotian carried her up to eat breakfast, her eyes were still closed. Tang Bao only felt that someone was stuffing something into her mouth, so she followed her instinct to chew and then swallow it. However, she was sleeping soundly, so it was very uncomfortable to be made like this. Fortunately, she went back to sleep after a few mouthfuls. When Tang Bao woke up again, it was already late in the morning. Tang Bao opened her eyes and saw the ceiling above the bedroom. She blinked her eyes. Her body moved slightly, and she felt that she could still bear it. She felt that she had been made to the point that her skin was rough and her flesh was thick. Otherwise, according to her previous physique, she would definitely grimace and find it difficult to even sit up. "You're awake." Tang Bao rolled her head on the pillow and saw Di Haotian sitting on the sofa not far away. Now that she took Di Haotian's car to the studio, it wasn't surprising that he was here. However, the computer in Di Haotian's hand was hers. "Di Haotian, how did you get my computer?" In front of Di Haotian, she really had no privacy. She did it perfectly. "Your assistant sent you a message." "What?" Tang Bao sat up from the bed and was about to lift the blanket when she realized that Di Haotian was staring at her, as if he was waiting for some kind of deep meaning. Tang Bao lowered her head again and realized that she was naked. Tang Bao sighed. Chapter 1055. She couldn't figure out what kind of system this person was in. Tang Bao grabbed the pajamas next to her and put them on. She covered her body that was covered with red marks before getting out of bed. I can't look. Di Haotian seemed to be confused. Yes, you can. You can look at it at night, Tang Bao said. I really want you to appear in front of me all day. You're not allowed to wear clothes. Tang Bao's heart skipped a beat. Then, she was afraid that her rejection was too obvious and Di Haotian would be unhappy, so she changed her words. Well, we have a lifetime. You can take your time to look. The emotions in Di Haotian's dark eyes changed. His voice was low and hoarse. Okay. Tang Bao felt that she was getting better and better. She knew how to calm Di Haotian's emotions now. She sat down beside Di Haotian and asked, What's the news? Di Haotian showed her. Tang Bao looked at the screenshots that Little Ding had sent her. They were all comments from Mia's alternate account. You have a plan, Di Haotian said affirmatively. Of course. How can I let the person who schemed against me have the last laugh? Tang Bao laughed. This alternate account is Mia's alternate account. I still need her to help me with the publicity. Don't cause trouble for me. Di Haotian thought that he was going to start causing trouble. Since she wanted to play, then let her play. He just needed to stand behind her and protect her. Di Haotian's large hand held her slender waist and massaged her gently. He whispered in her ear, Do you feel uncomfortable? I'm fine. Tang Bao's face was hot. Then, she thought of something and reminded him, It's the weekend tomorrow and the day after tomorrow. Di Haotian's face was a little tense, but he didn't say anything. Tang Bao could tell what he was thinking just by looking at his expression. She couldn't help but laugh when she thought of what Di Haotian had said earlier about wanting her naked in front of him all day. Di Haotian hugged her tightly. Are you laughing at me? Do you believe that I won't let you get out of bed? Tang Bao's body tensed up. Of course I do, but I can't. Don't force me to run away from home. I'm telling you, I really can do it. Her mouth was bitten. She winced in pain. Di Haotian let go of her pitiful little mouth. How dare you threaten your husband? You deserve to be punished. Tang Bao touched his bitten lips and said, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. I'm going to brush my teeth. He thought of something and stopped at the bathroom door. Di Haotian, can you bring bowling here during the weekend? All right. Aren't you agreeing too easily? Tang Bao asked. It's your husband's job. Don't worry. Tang Bao felt that Di Haotian would definitely resort to extreme measures. Otherwise, the child would be taken back by Di Junbai again. Moreover, she couldn't even get through to Di Bowling. She didn't know if there was something wrong with the phone. However, Di Bowling, who hadn't seen Tang Bao for a long time, really wanted to go out of school to look for Tang Bao in the afternoon, because he felt that Di Junbai would definitely take him home after school. So he could go and see Tang Bao in the afternoon. He would come back when school was almost over. Hence, Di Bowling ran to the teacher and asked, Teacher, can you lend me your phone for a while? The teacher was speechless. This was not the first time. But because she didn't dare to provoke this little devil, she lent him her phone. Come and pick me up now and send me to Ibao Studio. Don't tell my daddy, or I won't let you off. The teacher behind them broke out in cold sweat. But when the phone was returned, the teacher still asked, Di Bowling, are you going out? Yes, teacher. I'm not used to sleeping on the school bed. I want to go home and sleep. Children from rich families were indeed precious. Di Junbai walked out of the villa. He came back to get some documents and happened to see old Zhou about to go out after receiving a call. What's wrong? Old Zhou thought for a while. Should he tell him or not? That little devil wouldn't let him off, right? Did Bowling ask you to go? Di Junbai asked. Yes. Young master asked me to send him to Ibao Studio. Di Junbai restrained his expression and was silent for a while. Then he said, Go. Just pretend that I don't know. Yes. Old Zhou got into the car and drove off. Old Zhou picked up Di Bowling, got into the car, and drove straight to Ibao Studio. Di Bowling sat in the back seat and was very happy. He hadn't seen Tang Bao for a long time. Would Tang Bao be happy to see him? School was too boring. It was more interesting to follow Tang Bao. Should he find an excuse not to study? He didn't think so. Besides, if he followed Tang Bao every day, would Di Haotian, that petty person, spank him? When he thought of this possibility, Di Bowling's little face scrunched up like a bun. The car slowly stopped in front of Ibao Studio. Di Bowling got out of the car and walked towards Ibao Studio. Old Zhou followed behind him as if they were escorting him. However, just as he took a few steps and was still some distance away from the studio, he was swarmed by fans who had hidden somewhere. "Young master, be careful." Old Zhou quickly protected him. The fans surrounded him. "Little kid, may I ask, what's your relationship with Tango? Tango has an affair and ruined other people's relationship. Do you know that? I feel that you and Tango are a little alike. Are you his son?" Old Zhou was furious. He pushed the person closest to him. "He's just a child. Don't you have any morals?" But with Old Zhou's strength, how could he stop the madness of the fans? They kept pushing forward. Old Zhou shielded Di Bowling and was surrounded in the middle, afraid that Di Bowling would be hurt. But being pushed by the fans, Old Zhou was a little unstable. F***CK, what's going on? The people in Ibao Studio saw and asked. "Oh no, it's Di Bowling. I saw Di Bowling just now." Xiao Ding was so angry that he roared, "What are you all standing there for? Go and help." The people in the studio ran out and wanted to save Old Zhou and Di Bowling, but there were too many fans and it was completely useless. Xiao Ding's eyes were even punched, and there were dark circles under his eyes. She was so angry that she shouted, "You stupid fans, aren't you afraid of retribution? You won't even let a child off." Some fans replied, "Adults are not good people, and children are not any better." Then, Xiao Ding pounced on them and started fighting. The black car drove towards Ibao Studio. He Ju sat at the front and was the first to see it. "Young master, something happened. Hurry up and drive." "What's wrong?" Tang Bao was startled. The car sped towards the square. He Ju said, "I saw the car that young Master Di was in, and there were a lot of fans." Tang Bao's face turned pale. "What did you say?" Di Haotian's dark eyes turned violent. The car stopped. "Stay in the car." Chapter 1056. The bodyguards pulled the crazy fans apart one by one. Di Bowling, who was squeezed in the middle, did not react at all. After all, he was still young and did not have the ability to deal with such a situation. Other than Old Zhou protecting him, he was powerless to fight back. The fans were more than just crazy. They even wanted to fight with the bodyguards in black. As they fought, they shouted, "You've gone too far. You're bullying me." She was kicked to the ground. They did not have any protective feelings for the fairer sex. She vomited blood on the spot. When one of the fans saw that her fan was injured and that she could not win against the bodyguards, she wanted to use Di Bowling, the weak kid. He pulled out a knife from his body and stabbed directly at Di Bowling. Tang Bao, who could not be stopped, got out of the car. As soon as she got out, she saw a scene that made her heart stop. "Bowling! Di Haotian!" Di Haotian shook off the fans in front of him and went straight to Di Bowling. He grabbed Di Bowling with one hand and carried him over. However, the knife cut the back of Di Haotian's hand and blood flowed out. He Ju went forward and broke the fan's neck on the spot. Tang Bao immediately rushed over and checked on Di Bowling. She was so scared that her voice trembled. "Bowling, are you okay?" Then, she saw that the back of Di Haotian's hand was still bleeding and her face turned pale. "Di Haotian, I'm fine. It's just a superficial wound. Didn't I tell you not to get out of the car? Why are you so disobedient?" Di Haotian said sternly. Tang Bao looked at him with red eyes and said to He Ju, "Call the doctor to tea. I'll contact him now. Deal with these people first. Don't let any of them go." Some of the fans looked like they were not even 20 years old, but what did that have to do with him? Since their parents could not teach them well, He might as well teach them a lesson. He would definitely make them regret living in this world. Tang Bao did not want to let these people off either. They had hurt her family. This was the only thing she could not tolerate. However, Di Haotian's hand was still bleeding. She ignored Di Haotian's order and insisted on telling He Ju, "Call the doctor first." This time, He Ju didn't listen to Di Haotian. Instead, he called the doctor first, and then ordered his men to deal with the fans who were either conscious or dead. In T's office, Di Bowling sat on the sofa obediently, motionless, his face pale. His eyes were fixed on the doctor who was treating Di Haotian's wound. Tang Bao went in with the juice and glanced at Di Haotian, who was being bandaged. He knew that it was just a superficial wound, so he was not worried. Now, she was more worried about Di Bowling. He must have been frightened. "Bowling, have some juice." Tang Bao handed him the glass. Di Bowling turned to look at Tang Bao and asked, "Is he really okay?" "He's fine. It's just a superficial wound. He'll be fine after the doctor bandages it. Don't worry and don't be afraid, okay? No matter what happens, we'll protect you." Tang Bao comforted him and patted his head. Although Di Bowling was young, he knew a lot. He naturally remembered that when he was in danger, Di Haotian blocked a knife for him. Otherwise, his hand wouldn't have been injured and bleeding. He had always had a problem with Di Haotian. He felt that he was like a tyrant. But now, he didn't feel repulsed at all. Perhaps, he had long felt that Di Haotian was a good person and would not hurt him. He just didn't want to admit that he liked Di Haotian a little because he was afraid that he would let his father down. At this moment, the doctor had already bandaged the wound. "Young master, don't let this hand get wet. It will heal in a few days." "Okay." After the doctor left, Di Haotian noticed that Di Bowling was looking at him. He raised his uninjured hand and said, "Come here." Di Bowling hesitated for a moment, as if he didn't dare to go over. Would he beat him up if he got hurt? But before Tang Bao could encourage him, he took the initiative to go over. He walked in front of Di Haotian and stood in front of him. He looked at the bandaged hand with his big black grape-like eyes and looked adorable. Di Haotian lifted him up with one hand and sat him down next to him. "Are you afraid?" Di Bowling was silent. It would be a lie if he said that he wasn't afraid. If other children encountered this kind of thing, they would definitely cry and scream. "You didn't. You're very brave." He was indeed his son. His personality might be different from Erbao's, but they were both courageous and capable of doing great things. Di Bowling didn't know that his father was already thinking about how to enslave him and Erbao in the future. Di Haotian patted Di Bowling's head. He was very different from Tang Bao's gentleness. His big hand directly made Di Bowling's hair stand up. Di Bowling couldn't care less. He just stared blankly at Di Haotian and thought about what he said. Was he praising him? He thought that he was going to beat him up. "Does it still hurt?" Di Bowling asked. "It doesn't hurt. I'm sorry." Di Bowling had never been so weak in front of Di Haotian. He had always been very arrogant. "Don't feel guilty. Even if I had to do it again, I would do the same thing." Di Haotian looked at him and felt a little sorry. He was full of fatherly love. Di Bowling looked at Di Haotian. It seemed that Tang Bao was telling the truth when he said that Di Haotian liked him. "Okay, drink the juice. Then we'll go eat and take a nap in the afternoon. Don't go back to school. Come back to the castle with us." Di Bowling wanted to say that Di Junbai was coming to take him home. However, when his gaze fell on Di Haotian's bandaged hand, he nodded and agreed. During the afternoon nap, Tang Bao slept next to Di Bowling and coaxed him. Looking at Di Bowling's sleeping face, he kissed him lovingly. Di Haotian leaned over and whispered in her ear, "I'll be jealous if you do this." "Why would you be jealous? He's your son. That's why I can't do anything about my love rival." Tang Bao pushed him away slightly and got up from the bed gently. He covered Di Bowling with the blanket and turned to leave the lounge. Di Haotian walked out and closed the door. He asked, "Why aren't you sleeping? You should." Before he could finish his sentence, Tang Bao threw herself into his arms. Di Haotian felt as if his heart had been hit by her. His whole body trembled with excitement. After recovering for a long time, Tang Bao hugged him and did not speak for a long time. "What's wrong?" Di Haotian's voice was low and hoarse. "I don't know." Tang Bao did not want to say. She felt that the emotions in her heart were too strong. She did not know how to say it. So she said that she did not know. Di Haotian raised her face. His dark eyes seemed to want to drill into her soul through her eyes. He asked, "Are you scared?" Tang Bao nodded. She did not care if it would be embarrassing. Chapter 1057. However, these were her heartfelt words. She was really scared. Tang Bao gently held up Di Haotian's bandaged hand. She looked down and said, "How could you hurt yourself? You're making me worried and scared on purpose, aren't you?" Although it was a question, she knew that it was caused by fear. She would rather have been cut on the back of her hand instead of Di Haotian. She didn't expect that a cut on the back of Di Haotian's hand would make him so scared. This was too scary. It was scarier than anything else. However, she didn't want Di Bowling to get hurt. Di Haotian's long and rough fingers lifted her face. His clear eyes were still trembling with tears. He looked at her deeply with his dark eyes. "This injury was worth it." "What do you mean?" She was scared out of her wits, and he was still saying such things? Di Haotian's hand clasped the back of her neck. He buried her in his chest and hugged her tightly. "You're worried about me. Don't you think it's worth it?" Di Haotian asked in a low voice. Tang Bao finally understood what he meant. She didn't know whether to be angry or laugh. "Is it strange that I'm worried about you? I just regret not getting out of the car earlier and walking to Bowling's side. That way, Bowling wouldn't have been scared and you wouldn't have been hurt. If you had gotten out of the car, it would have been worse. Why, my heart would have been in a mess. That's why I let you stay in the car. Even if you didn't scream at that time, I saw it. Don't blame yourself and don't be sad. I feel that it's definitely worth it for me to suffer such a small injury. Damn it, but I won't let anyone who tries to hurt you off. If it's possible, I'd like to give it a try." Di Haotian's dark eyes were fierce and bloodthirsty. Tang Bao was stunned for a moment. She looked up from his arms. "Don't do that. We'll take responsibility for our own actions. Don't involve their families. It has nothing to do with them." "You think it has nothing to do with them? Even if it has something to do with education, don't get involved. After all, this matter was not instigated by his parents. Is that okay?" Tang Bao nervously tugged at Di Haotian's sleeve, fearing that he would really go after the families of those people one by one. No matter how angry she was at those people for hurting the people she cared about and how much she wanted to teach them a lesson, she was not as ruthless as Di Haotian. He could not wait to kill them all and make them die without descendant. "Got it." Di Haotian's face was cold. He didn't seem very willing. However, even if he spared their lives, Imperial City still made them feel like hell. There was only pain and no joy. This was the only way to fill the bloodthirsty rage in his heart. However, the fan incident had already stopped, so why would they stir up trouble again? Were they really not afraid of death? Di Haotian put his arm around her and went to the lounge. "What? Sleep." "I don't want to sleep anymore." After experiencing this, how could she still be in the mood to sleep? After thinking for a while, she asked, "Do you want to sleep? Are you inviting me?" Di Haotian turned to look at her. His dark eyes were very dangerous. Tang Bao coaxed Di Bowling to sleep. Now it was Di Haotian coaxing Tang Bao to sleep. After falling asleep, he left the lounge. He called He Ju over. "How are those people being dealt with?" Di Haotian sat on the black chair behind the desk, looking cold and gloomy as if he came from hell. "Don't worry, young master. Not a single one of them is missing. The living ones are bleeding and thrown into the sea. The so-called bleeding and throwing into the sea was to cut a few wounds on a living person's body to ensure that she would not die or stop bleeding. Thrown into the sea. The smell of blood would naturally attract sharks. It was impossible for them to survive. It would also let them experience the extreme fear of floating in the sea before they died. In other words, not a single one of them was tortured out, De Houtien said coldly. Yes. Under the double torture of both mental and physical torture, there were still no clues. Check on their family members too. Chase them out of D-City. No need. Let them stay in D-City, and let them know the consequences of offending the king of D-City. Yes. Young master, could this be related to Di Bai? He asked. All clues must be checked in this direction. Don't miss anything. Yes. The door of the office was pushed open before he could ask for permission. The person who came in was Di Bai. He looked a little flustered and lost his usual composure. He looked at him and did not say a word. He retreated to the side. De Houtien frowned and looked at him sternly. Who let you in? This is your office? I'm sorry, young master. I heard that something happened at the square, and then I received a call from Lao Zhou. Only then did I know that something had happened to Bowling. How is Bowling now? Is he all right? Di Bai finished speaking in one breath, and looked at De Houtien anxiously. He looked at Di Bai, trying to see if Di Bai was acting or if he was really worried about Di Bowling. De Houtien leaned back in his seat and looked at him coldly with his sharp black eyes. He's not your son. Why are you so nervous? I know he's not, but I raised him for 3 years. So what if we're not related by blood? I've always treated him as my own. Di Bai's breathing was slightly unstable. You raised him with a purpose. I really couldn't tell that you had such a big heart. De Houtien's cold aura was very threatening. Young master, I'm really worried about him. Tell me, how is he now? He said, Don't worry, young master D is fine. Di Bai heaved a sigh of relief and realized that he had lost his composure. I'm sorry, I was rash. You better be rash, De Houtien said coldly. What do you mean, young master? Di Bai asked in confusion. You can leave now. De Houtien didn't need to explain to him. He believed that with Di Bai's intelligence, he wouldn't be unable to tell. Di Bai didn't say anything else. He had been ordered to leave, so there was no reason for him to continue standing there. After Di Bai left, he said, I can't tell if Di Bai is acting or if he's really worried about Di Bowling. Even I can't tell. What's so strange about that? Di Bai is a shrewd person. He's still capable of this. Could it be that this matter really has nothing to do with Di Bai? Although Di Bowling is young master's biological son, he might still have feelings for him. De Houtien looked at He coldly. Are you going to make the same mistake again? He knew what his first mistake was, so he nodded and didn't say anything. Chapter 1058. Yes, sir. He left the office hurriedly. The office was silent. Suddenly, De Houtien looked at the door of the lounge. The door was slightly ajar. Someone had just pulled it open, but De Houtien did not get up to see what was going on. It was as if he had known from the beginning that someone was standing there. Di Bowling even forgot to close the door. He climbed onto the bed and lay down in his original position. He glanced at Tang Bao next to him. She was still asleep. But he did not dare to move, let alone speak. Di Bowling was in a daze, and he looked a little scared. He had heard everything that De Houtien had said just now. Wasn't he Di Bai's son? How did he become De Houtien's son? What was going on? He was Tang Bao's son. His father was Di Bai. What did he have to do with De Houtien? He thought about how De Houtien's hand was injured today, but then he thought about how Di Bai had been hospitalized because of him. He couldn't figure it out either. Although Di Bowling had doubts about this relationship, at least, He had planted a seed of conjecture in his heart. Tang Bao was about to wake up when she felt someone snuggling into her arms. She opened her eyes and saw Di Bowling clinging to her like a little dumpling. He had just woken up and his big eyes were still in a daze. He started calling out, "Mommy." Tang Bao's heart skipped a beat. "Do you still want to sleep?" "No." Tang Bao knew that Di Bowling already knew who his mommy was. Seeing that he was a little nervous and embarrassed after calling out to her, Tang Bao couldn't help but laugh. "What's wrong? Will you be unhappy if I call you that?" "Of course not. I'll be very happy. Then I'll call you that every time in the future, even in front of outsiders. Is that okay?" Di Bowling asked expectantly. "Okay, as long as you're happy, you can call me whatever you want." Tang Bao pinched his tender little face lovingly. The door to the lounge was pushed open, and Di Haotian's tall black figure walked in. Seeing that the two people on the bed had woken up, his dark eyes rippled slightly. As for Di Bowling, when he saw Di Haotian, his body tensed up, and his gaze was somewhat evasive. Di Haotian glanced at him. "Do you want to get up?" Tang Bao said, "He can't sleep. You don't look like you have enough clothes. Let me help you." Di Haotian took his clothes and helped him put them on. Di Bowling did not move. He sat down and allowed Di Haotian to help him. Tang Bao was very surprised. Usually, when Di Bowling was so close to Di Haotian, he would avoid him as far as possible. Why was he so calm today? This was not his style. Di Bowling did not even look at Di Haotian. He just let Di Haotian help him change his clothes. He was wearing a child's pajamas. When Di Bowling came, he did not wear pajamas. In the end, he wore Di Haotian's pajamas. Later, Di Haotian asked someone to prepare a few sets of pajamas for him. "You should feel honored that I'm helping you put on your clothes." Di Haotian said to him as he put on his pajamas. "I didn't ask you to help me put on my clothes," Di Bowling said arrogantly like a rich young master. Di Haotian looked at his angry face. When he was done putting on his clothes, he slapped him on the butt. Di Bowling was so scared that he immediately hugged his butt and moved to the side. He looked at Di Haotian defensively. Di Haotian smiled, stood up, and walked to the bathroom. Tang Bao was washing his face and putting on makeup. "Are you done putting on his clothes?" Tang Bao asked. "Yes." "Do you feel that Bowling has become very strange? After I woke up, he doesn't seem to dislike you so much anymore?" Tang Bao asked. "Maybe it's because I saved him." "You're right." Tang Bao thought about it. This must be the reason. It was after this incident that Di Bowling changed. "Don't hug me. I want to draw my eyebrows." Her body was being hugged from behind. She struggled slightly. Di Haotian took the pen that Tang Bao was about to draw and turned Tang Bao to face her. He was going to draw Tang Bao's face. Tang Bao was so scared that he stepped back. "What are you doing?" "I'm drawing your eyebrows." Tang Bao's face heated up. "You know how to draw women's eyebrows? Don't make me look like I can't be seen. You're wearing men's clothing. Of course, you're going to draw a man's eyebrows. It's fine as long as they look like me," Di Haotian said as he went to draw her eyebrows. Tang Bao was stunned and did not dare to move. He was afraid that he would ruin the drawing. She thought that Di Haotian's face was handsome. His eyebrows were dark without drawing. They were cold and arrogant, sharp and handsome. Did he want her eyebrows to look like his? She felt that it was impossible to replicate. At most, they would look a little alike. Di Bowling walked to the bathroom door and saw Di Haotian drawing Tang Bao's eyebrows. If it was in the past, he would have immediately rushed up and pushed Di Haotian away. But now, he kept thinking about the words that Di Haotian said to He Ju in the office. He did wake up because he seemed to have heard Di Junbai's voice. But he did not expect to hear that kind of words. If he was really Di Haotian's son, why did he grow up by Di Junbai's side? Was Di Haotian good to him because he was his son? Di Bowling was very conflicted. He was also very distressed about such a complicated relationship. Then, he quietly walked out of the lounge alone. Di Haotian's deep gaze looked at the door. He pretended that nothing had happened and continued to draw Tang Bao's eyebrows. After he finished drawing, Tang Bao looked at the mirror. She was actually amazed. It was similar to what she had imagined. It could not be replicated, but it was very similar. Tang Bao used to draw eyebrows to make herself look more masculine. But now, after Di Haotian's drawing, there was a cool handsomeness in the charm. Does it look good? Di Haotian's strong chest pressed against her again. He deliberately put pressure on Tang Bao so that she had to support herself with both hands. It looks good. Next time, draw like this. Tang Bao did not have any objections. But if you press on me like this, I have a problem. Her face was slightly hot. You don't press on me like this. Get up. This posture is not bad, Di Haotian said bossily. Tang Bao's face was slightly red. She moved away from him and went to the lounge. But she did not see Di Bowling. Where's Bowling? He's outside. Tang Bao opened the door and walked out. She saw Di Bowling sitting on the sofa in a daze. There were all kinds of food on the coffee table. Tang Bao's favorite food and Di Bowling's favorite food. Tang Bao walked over. These are our favorite food. Why aren't you eating? I'm not in the mood to eat. Di Bowling puffed up his cheek. Tang Bao laughed at his cuteness. Why aren't you in the mood to eat? Is it because of what happened during the day? Not really. Tang Bao was confused. What kind of answer was that? Then can you tell me what happened? Tang Bao asked. Chapter 1059. No matter how he looked at him, Tang Bao did not look good. Di Haotian sat down and said, Do you want me to feed you? I can eat by myself, Di Bowling said as he went to get food. He was the one who wore the clothes, and now he had to feed him food? When he was at home, he was always dressed by others, and before he said anything about food, he had to be fed. When the two babies are about to end class, we'll pick them up and then go back to the castle, Di Haotian said. I won't go. Di Bowling's mouth was full of food as he said with a puffy face. Tang Bao was slightly stunned. Why not? Didn't you say that you wanted to go? Di Bowling changed his mind. In the words of their adults, his heart was in a mess at this moment. Was he Di Junbai's son or Di Haotian's son? How can you go back on your words? You have to go. Di Haotian did not give him a chance to resist. Di Bowling chewed the food in his mouth and was very unconvinced. When did I go back on my words? I'll go. That's more like it. Di Bowling did not look at him anymore and looked at Tang Bao. Tang Bao smiled and wiped the foam on his little mouth, then gave him milk. Drink more, you can grow taller in the future. Di Bowling did not have any objections. He did not like short melons anyway. Then he glanced at Di Haotian with his big eyes and quickly looked away. Anyway, he was smarter and taller than Di Haotian. Otherwise, wouldn't he be bullied too pitifully? Di Haotian said, Do you want to give Di Junbai a call? Or you can go to his office to look for him. Tang Bao immediately said, Just a call will do, right? There's no need to go to his office. Di Haotian only asked Di Bowling, What do you think? Mommy said to make the call, so I'll make the call, Di Bowling said. Di Haotian was a little surprised that he had changed the way he usually addressed Tang Bao. Then, he said, Do you want to call me Daddy? I have a daddy. Di Junbai is my daddy, Di Bowling said excitedly, as if he wanted to prove something. Then you're not allowed to call me Mommy. Di Haotian's face darkened. Before Di Bowling could react, it was Tang Bao who was unhappy. He glared at Di Haotian and said, Hey, how can you say that? He's our son, so why can't he call me Mommy? Di Bowling pulled a long face. He felt that Di Haotian was too hateful. Why can't I call you Mommy? Tang Bao is my mommy. She is indeed your mommy. You can call her that too, but you're only allowed to call me Daddy. Di Haotian demanded strongly. His face was also very stern, as if this was a very serious matter. When Di Bowling heard him call him Daddy, his little eyes flashed because he thought of the secret he had eavesdropped on. He muttered softly, "I have my own daddy, and what does that have to do with calling me Mommy?" Tang Bao was also thinking about the reason. Then, something flashed through her mind. Could it be what she thought? With Di Haotian's strong possessiveness, it was all too normal. If you call Tang Bao Mommy and Di Junbai Daddy, then what am I? Those who don't know better would think that you're family. Don't even think about it with me, Di Haotian said with a cold face. Tang Bao cursed in her heart. It was really as she thought. Actually, Di Haotian was right. If that was really the case, she would also feel uncomfortable. But she couldn't possibly ask Di Bowling not to call her Mommy, right? They were the ones who had let this child down. Di Haotian, it's okay. Before Tang Bao could finish her sentence, she met Di Haotian's sharp gaze. Her words were stuck for a moment, but she was still very unhappy. She insisted on finishing her sentence. He's just a child. He doesn't know these things. Besides, he's just calling you Mommy. It's not like he can really do anything. No. Di Haotian spat out he Ju. Tang Bao was speechless. When this person's possessiveness flared up, it was really hard to resist. Di Bowling, who was listening quietly, said, "Don't you just want me to call you Daddy? Then you can call me that," Di Haotian said calmly. Di Bowling's little face was red, but he refused to call him that. Tang Bao loved her son very much. She said to Di Bowling, "Listen to me. Call me whatever you want." Di Haotian's expression was very ugly. "Bao, are you itching again? Do you want me to help you scratch it tonight?" Tang Bao, of course, understood Di Haotian's meaning. Her face instantly turned red, almost as red as Di Bowling. "What are you talking about? The child is here." Tang Bao glanced at Di Bowling's face. Fortunately, the child did not understand. But she was also panicking. "What do you say? I won't force you to call me Daddy. Either you're not allowed to call Di Junbai Daddy, or you're not allowed to call me Mommy. Choose one," Di Haotian said as he crossed his legs and looked at Di Bowling's angry and helpless little face. Tang Bao was almost speechless. "You're not forcing him? That's too much, okay? You're obviously bullying the child." For some reason, Tang Bao felt like laughing when he saw Di Bowling looking like he couldn't make a choice. But wasn't it a little inappropriate to laugh at this time? Wouldn't it hurt the little guy's little heart? Why don't I call you Daddy in private and not let anyone else hear?" Di Bowling said after holding it in for a long time. Tang Bao looked at Di Haotian's slightly restrained expression. The coldness on her face was very obvious, but she did not say anything. Di Bowling said this because he still wanted to call Di Junbai Daddy. Even if he gave up, he could still call her Mommy legitimately. It could be seen that Di Junbai was still very important to him. "Hurry up and eat. Is this delicious?" Tang Bao tried to divert Di Bowling's attention. Di Bowling glanced at Di Haotian and ate silently. After leaving tea to pick up the two babies from school, the car door opened in the underground parking lot. Di Bowling's short little legs struggled to climb up, so Di Haotian carried him up. After Di Bowling got up, he sat down obediently. He didn't look like the little devil he usually was. The three of them sat in the same car and headed to school. Di Junbai agreed to let Di Bowling stay in the castle. Di Bowling was surprised. In fact, he was curious as to why Di Junbai would agree. In the past, he was unwilling. He also wondered if Di Junbai was not his biological daddy. If not, what should he do? After picking up the two babies from school, they returned to the castle. As soon as they arrived at the castle, Zhang Li took the children to wash their hands. Tang Bao looked at Di Haotian next to him. He thought for a while and said, "Di Haotian, take it slow. The children didn't do it on purpose." "Do I look like such a fragile person, huh? He's called Di Junbai. If he didn't call you, wouldn't you feel uncomfortable?" Tang Bao asked suspiciously. Chapter 1060. Tang Bao thought about it and agreed. Di Haotian was such a domineering person. His psychological endurance must be very strong. Besides, if he wanted Di Bowling to come back, he could do it immediately. He was thinking about Di Bowling and her. She was afraid that Di Bowling would be traumatized and hate Di Haotian. He will come back to us eventually, Tang Bao said. Okay. Di Haotian pinched her chin, his dark eyes warm and deep as they enveloped her. After Mia went back, she was very excited. She didn't expect Di Haotian to be so sexy and handsome. She felt like she was falling for the king of D City. She was really falling for him. In the past, being a celebrity was very important to her, but now it was more important to become the king of D City's woman. No wonder Lan Wanru was so scheming behind her back for the king of D City. Although Lan Wanru didn't say that she liked Di Haotian, she could tell. If it were her, she would also try her best to get close to the king of D City. During the break on set, Mia saw Qingju and walked over to talk to her. Qingju, we have a scene together later. Your acting is really good. I should learn from you. Qingju glanced at her without much expression on his face. No, your acting skills are not bad. I admire you. How could she not be impressed? She was obviously a very scheming woman who did so many things under the table online, but on the surface she was very gentle and easy to talk to. Such acting skills were definitely amazing. Qingju sighed. I think there are still a lot of rumors on the internet. This is very bad for President Tang's image. There are even investors who forbid the artists of Ibao Studio from acting in any commercial activities. I just want it. Those investors don't even know if they have the right to do so. Ibao Studio has T's support. Qingju, don't worry. Rumors are just rumors. Mia even pretended to comfort her. Qingju had never made enemies of others. She didn't want to bring trouble to Tang Guo and exhaust him. At this critical juncture, she would not expose anything. She believed that Tang Ji's current inaction was to counterattack the Mia. Qingju, I heard that Tang Guo likes men, is that true? You said it yourself that it's just a rumor. Why do you believe it? Qingju asked. I know. But some rumors don't come out of nowhere, don't you think? I don't know much about President Tang. I heard that Tang Guo has a good relationship with King of City. Does King of City go to Tang Ji's studio often? I've been filming and haven't been back to the studio often, so I'm not sure. Qingju, I know an investor who is very popular in the entertainment industry. As long as he gives you a role, you can get it. Why don't we have a meal together? No need. I'm very satisfied with my current opportunity. Mia was furious. What kind of person was he? He had the chance to climb up the ladder and he didn't want it. Did he still want to rely on T Group to fly up the tree and become a phoenix? Qingju was really unmoved by force or persuasion. She couldn't get any information out of her. She was so angry. Mia thought to herself, wait until I replace Tang Ji's position. Let's see if you can survive. When that time comes, even if you regret it and beg me, I won't even look at you. But what should she think of to get close to Di Haotian? She had to rely on Lan Wanru for help. She wasn't working for Lan Wanru now, but for herself. Anyway, Lan Wanru was using her. Why couldn't she use him back? So she called Lan Wanru. That day, I deliberately bumped into the young master at the bar. Guess what? The young master looked at my face and couldn't bear to look away. Really? Lan Wanru began to feel jealous. Yes, and he even asked my name. But I don't understand. Logically speaking, he should have taken the initiative to look for me, but I didn't see him. Miss Lan, should I find a chance to get close to the young master? Of course. Then what method do you think I should use? I'm afraid it'll be too sudden. Aren't you Xiao Bao's biological sister? Don't you know how to use such an advantageous condition? Lan Wanru reminded her. Mia thought about it. That's right, how could she forget this? Anyway, Tang Guo knew who she was. But, in this way, Won't the young master know that I have plastic surgery? So what if you have plastic surgery? Do you think the young master will care? If he really cared, he wouldn't have found a man, Lan Wanru sneered. He didn't even care about gender. Why would he care if you had plastic surgery? Compared to gender, plastic surgery was nothing. Mia thought about it and agreed. As long as the face was similar to Di Haotian's wife's face, he would be infatuated. Coupled with her methods, she was full of confidence. However, it wasn't so easy to get close to Xiao Bao, because the Di family would definitely not agree. Once she got close, she might even be warned that her life was in danger. Thus she thought of someone. That was her second sister, Chen Zizhao. Chen Zizhao was 1 year younger than her. Like her, she also came out to work very early. She worked as a waitress in a restaurant and was honest. Otherwise, she wouldn't still be a waitress until now. Mia usually looked down on this second sister. However, although she was honest, she was indeed good to her family. In the past, Mia didn't have money outside. Every time she asked her for money, she would give it to her. Then, Mia would use the money that she got from free money to buy new clothes for herself. Chen Zizhao was frugal. The clothes on her body were all from street stalls. Some of them were even washed until they were white. One could tell at a glance that she was dressed like a villager. Mia directly brought Chen Zizhao to D City. In order to show off her current status, Mia specially asked her chauffeur to pick her up. Chen Zizhao had seen a car before, but she had never sat in one before. From the moment she got into the car to Mia's house, she thought that she had gone to the wrong place. When she opened the door and saw Mia, she was shocked. Who are you? Second sister, it's me, Zhaodi. I'm your elder sister. What? Your voice is that of an elder sister, but your face. Come in first. Mia pulled her in. When she saw the bag she was carrying, she couldn't help but look at her with disdain. These things in her house were like garbage that polluted her eyes. However, for her own purpose, she had already prepared herself to endure it. Chen Zizhao was still staring at Mia's face. She didn't know what was going on. Stop looking. Sit down first. Chen Zizhao sat down on the sofa, trembling. She felt that the sofa was especially soft and clean. She carefully touched it with her hands. Chapter 1061. Huh! I'm a female celebrity now. I'm filming a movie. When the movie airs, I'll be on TV. I'll be famous, Mia said with great ambition. Really? You'll be on TV? But why do you need plastic surgery? You used to have a pretty face. Now I don't even recognize you, Chen Zizhao said in confusion. What do you know? As a celebrity, the prettier the better. Also, I like how I look now. Chen Zizhao didn't dwell on it anymore. As long as she liked it, he was happy. Sis, you're amazing. You're actually a celebrity now. I've always known that you're the smartest among all of us sisters. Mia felt good hearing that. That's why I brought you here. I'm living a good life now. I can't let you be a waitress, right? It's good that you think of me. I don't care. I don't know how to do anything other than being a waitress. Chen Zizhao was very happy. Don't you know how to cook? I'll send you to school. It's easy there, the environment is good, and the salary is much higher than being a waitress. The most important thing is... Mia stopped. What? Do you still remember our little sister? The one who was sold? Mia asked. I remember. Mom was looking for her everywhere. She even went on TV, but she couldn't find her. Mom was very sad, Chen Zizhao said dejectedly. Actually, she found her. She just couldn't bring her back. Found her? Couldn't bring her back? What do you mean? I don't understand. Now, our little sister was adopted by a rich family. Although that family doesn't treat her well, in reality, she's very bad. They don't even give her good food. The place I recommend to cook is our little sister's school. You can cook there and bring her good food. Mia was a little worried. I know I should go, But I'm filming now. I can't go. You don't even know how to cook. If you cook so badly, they won't want you even if you go. As long as what you said is true, my little sister will attend classes there, and I will go to school to cook. And then you can build a good relationship with my little sister and tell her who you are. When the time comes, she will take the initiative to leave with you. That way, his mother wouldn't be so upset. No matter what, if it wasn't for Dad, why would little sister be sold? We're a family. A family can't be separated. Don't you think so? Mia said sadly. You're right. Anyway, I can't let my little sister suffer outside. I want to bring her home, Chen Zizhao said with determination. When Mia saw that Chen Zizhao had been tricked, a scheming smile appeared on her face. So what if she was his biological sister? Besides, if she successfully moved into the castle, her family would live a happy life for the rest of their lives. Sister, your face is really beautiful. Chen Zizhao couldn't get enough of it no matter how much he looked at it. Moreover, he was not used to it. He had to look at it more often. Don't talk about this face or that face. This is my face. Don't say it like that next time, Mia said unhappily. Also, I've changed my name to Mia. Don't tell others my original name. Is the original name not good? Also, is there anyone with the surname Mi? The illiterate Chen Zizhao asked doubtfully. Why not? That's enough. Don't ask what you shouldn't ask. I'll do my best to arrange for you to work at the school, but there's one thing I need to tell you. Your task is to get close to little sister. Don't tell others about us, so as to avoid unnecessary trouble. Oh, I know. But how do I find little sister? Little sister's current name is Diyunshi. She's in the lowest class. Just ask around. If you want to enter an Ivy League school, you need to bribe them and get in through the back door. Otherwise, people like Chen Zizhao wouldn't be able to get in. Fortunately, she was good at cooking. Because she used to cook children's meals in restaurants, she knew a little about cooking. Therefore, she was arranged to do an internship first. If there were no problems after 3 months, she could become a regular worker. The kitchen facilities in the Ivy League school were separated. Kindergarten was kindergarten, primary school was primary school, and the food was different. The nutrition was also different. Chen Zizhao looked at the exquisite food in amazement. No matter how good the restaurant she worked in, she didn't have to pay so much attention to the food. Mia said that little sister didn't eat well. Was it true or not? However, Chen Zizhao always believed Mia's words. Otherwise, when Mia asked her for money, she wouldn't have foolishly given it to her. Moreover, even if she felt that Mia spent too much money, she wouldn't say anything. After all, they were family. Giving money to spend was the same. When the children's class was over, Tang Bao stood beside the car and watched the children come out. When they saw her, they ran over happily. Mommy! Mommy! Di Haotian opened the car door. Get in. He carried the 2 little guys into the car. Di Bowling walked in front of Di Junbai. Di Junbai opened the car door for him. Di Bowling glanced at them before getting into the car. Then, he got into the car. Di Junbai looked at Di Haotian and Tang Bao and nodded at them. Then, he got into the driver's seat and drove away. Tang Bao watched the car leave. Her heart was heavy. Di Haotian put an arm around her. Let's go. Di Bowling was a little quiet in the car. He looked out of the car window. Di Junbai glanced at him through the rearview mirror and pretended to be chatting as usual. How was school today? Pretty good. Di Bowling came back to his senses. If there's anything on your mind, you can tell Daddy. Nothing. It's just something with the children at school, Di Bowling said simply. Di Junbai smiled. Did you quarrel with the children? It's boring at school. But it's a path that every child has to take. School is a must. Oh. Di Bowling did not insist. Di Haotian restrained his expression and did not say anything else. When Tang Bao brought the 2 babies into the hall, Di Haotian slowed down slightly. He-ju caught up with him. Young master, Di Junbai seems to be very well behaved. He didn't do anything. We've checked all the clues about those crazy fans. There's nothing suspicious about Di Junbai. Di Haotian's expression was cold and frightening. They couldn't find anything. This was not a good feeling. It was as if he was being controlled. He, Di Haotian, had always been the one controlling others. However, he knew that this definitely had something to do with Di Junbai. Even if it had nothing to do with him, he could not let Di Bowling continue to stay by his side. He deliberately let Di Bowling hear the truth that day so that he could prepare for his return. As his son, it was not right for him to not be able to accept this. Chapter 1062. Di Haotian looked at Tang Bao. I asked He-ju to bring Bowling back. You mean? Tang Bao's heart skipped a beat. Bring him back now? Will Bowling be willing to do that? Even if he doesn't want to, it's not up to him to choose. Why? Tang Bao didn't understand. He-ju glanced at Di Haotian and said, Young madam, Di Junbai was the one behind the attack by the fans. What? Old Zhou went to pick up Bowling, but Di Junbai didn't know about it? Tang Bao asked. Bowling said that he didn't tell anyone else, so how did it have anything to do with Di Junbai? When old Zhou went to pick up Bowling from school, Di Junbai happened to come home to get some company documents, so old Zhou told him, He-ju said. Tang Bao couldn't believe that Di Junbai would do something like that. His face turned pale. Didn't he say that he treated Bowling like his own son? How could he do something like that? Bao. Di Haotian put his arm around her. Calm down. Di Junbai is using the child to deal with me. He doesn't really care about Bowling. But don't worry, we don't have to tell him the truth when we bring Bowling back. Are you saying that we should let him stay in the castle like before? Tang Bao asked calmly. Yes, and then I'll find time to tell him whose son he is. Tang Bao had no choice but to nod. If it was Di Junbai who did it, then Di Bowling's situation would be very dangerous. She thought that Di Junbai would really treat her son well. After all, he was just a child. Why would he be so cruel to him? Di Haotian instructed, don't use force if you can. What he meant was that if he didn't want to come back, then use force. In any case, they had to bring Di Bowling back. Yes. In fact, when Di Junbai saw He-ju walking over, he knew that he had made the wrong move. He should not have let anything happen to Di Bowling. If anything happened, Di Haotian would bring Di Bowling back regardless of the consequences. He-ju said that he would bring Di Bowling back to the castle to stay for a while, but he knew that this was not a matter of a short period of time, but a long period of time. Judging from He-ju's attitude, Di Haotian would not tell Di Bowling the truth. But as time passed, no one could be sure. Since it was a long time, he still had time. Therefore, He-ju had no choice but to yield to him. If he didn't, He-ju wouldn't leave just because of Di Bowling's rejection like last time. I'd better not go, Di Bowling said. Bowling, go and have some fun. He's your uncle, so it's okay. Besides, Daddy is a little busy these days, so it's good for you to stay there, Di Junbai said. Liu Huai was unhappy when he heard that. What are you talking about? Can't I watch when you're busy? I don't agree with Bowling going. As he spoke, he pulled Di Bowling behind him, hiding him from He-ju. Lan Wanru didn't want to make things awkward, so he asked He-ju, did Brother Haotian say how long he'll be staying? If it's too long, we'll think about it too. What he meant was that they couldn't go to the castle. If they could send the child to stay there. I'm not sure about that. I'm just following orders. He-ju looked at Di Junbai. Second master, I don't want to use force. You should persuade your family. If things get too tense, it won't look good. I know. Di Junbai stepped forward and pulled Liu Huai over. He patted Di Bowling gently. Go and play with them. When Daddy's done, I'll bring you back. Then Di Bowling followed He Ju away. Liu Huai was furious. She flung Di Junbai's hand away. What the hell are you doing? What do you mean by staying for a while? Are you trying to give your own son to someone else? Don't tell me they have something on you. That's why you're doing this. What exactly are you thinking? Di Junbai's face was expressionless. He looked straight ahead and his figure was slightly dark. Lan Wanru pulled Liu Huai away and comforted her. Auntie, this is a small matter. Bowling will be back in 2 days. What if he doesn't come back? What if Di Haotian doesn't let go? Liu Huai retorted. This? I don't think so. Lan Wanru felt that it didn't make sense. Unless someone really had something on Di Junbai that could be used against him. Di Junbai rubbed the space between his eyebrows as if he was tired. If he wants to be like this, what can I do? I can only think of letting Bowling go over to play with my 2 brothers. He'll be back in a few days. Play with them? Do you think Bowling is their servant? Liu Huai was furious when she heard this. What do you think my precious grandson is? They're going too far. No, I won't let them have an easy time. For my grandson, I'm willing to do anything. Thus, the next day, Liu Huai went to Ibao's studio to make a scene. Tang Bao was in the office sorting out the comments from Mia. Meng Shi's show had also been aired and the ratings were good. This was the time to give it another push. It was a free promotion. She was in a good mood today. Even though she had collected so many insulting topics from Mia's alternate account, she was still very happy. This was because Di Bowling had returned to live in the castle. Moreover, Di Haotian promised her that he would not be sent back. How could Tang Bao not be happy? The moment Liu Huai entered, before Xiao Ding could ask who she was, Liu Huai picked up the potted plant on the desk and smashed it to the ground. Hey! What are you doing? Xiao Ding went forward to stop her, but was pushed away by Liu Huai. What was the scariest thing in the world? A shrew. What am I doing? I can't deal with Di Haotian, so I can only look for his gigolo. Get that gigolo to come out. You're crazy. What gigolo? The staff member was baffled. I'm crazy? Get Tang Gu to come out. He's a gigolo, AB*TCA. If he's not stealing men, he's stealing children. How can you be so shameless? As Liu Huai spoke, she smashed another vase. Tang Bao, who was in the office, was shocked when he heard the commotion and hurriedly ran out. When he saw who was making a scene downstairs, he was stunned. She actually came here to act crazy. Tang Bao immediately understood why. Tang Bao walked down. Second aunt, what are you doing? Coming to my company to make a scene, isn't that too unseemly? Second aunt? Did you hear how shameless she is? She actually called me second aunt. Who's your second aunt? Are you directly admitting that you're Di Haotian's gigolo? I don't know what you're talking about. Tang Bao refused to admit it. Fine, it doesn't matter if you don't admit it. Give Bowling back to me. Give it back to me and I'll leave right now. I'll also apologize to you. Otherwise, I'll tear down your company. Liu Huai was so angry that she wanted to jump up. What a shrew. Chapter 1063. His aura was so strong that Liu Huai took a step back in fear. You. What are you trying to do? Let me tell you, return my grandson to me. Otherwise I will never leave. Di Haotian would not listen to her. Without even giving a signal, the bodyguards went forward and forcibly dragged Liu Huai out. Are you guys being reasonable? I'm only here to ask for my eldest grandson. Return my grandson to me. Otherwise, I'll come every day. Wait, Di Haotian said. The bodyguards stopped and let go of Liu Huai. Outside the studio, Liu Huai could still feel the strong aura around her. She almost couldn't stand properly. She looked at Di Haotian in fear and vigilance. You? What are you trying to do? You said that you'll come every day? Second aunt, do you want to lose both your legs? Di Haotian asked her. Liu Huai was so scared that her face turned pale. She could not say a word. She knew Di Haotian. He had even killed her husband. Such a person was so scary that he was inhumane. In broad daylight you don't do anything rash. Since you think that this is broad daylight, why are you still making a scene here? Second aunt, have you forgotten what I'm capable of? Or do you want to see if I'll cripple both your legs in broad daylight? Di Haotian said fiercely. I just want my grandson back. What's wrong with that? Liu Huai seemed to have found some confidence in herself. Di Haotian sneered. Your grandson? Go back and ask your son whose son Di Bowling is. You! What do you mean? If he's not my grandson, could it be Yu Songhuan's grandson? No, Bowling is my grandson. Liu Huai did not admit to this. Absolutely not. Don't make a fuss here. If you do, I'll break your legs so that you'll never be able to stand up again. Di Haotian turned around and walked into the studio. After entering the office, he directly dragged Tang Bao back into the office in front of everyone. Then, he pressed himself against the door and kissed her madly. She kissed Tang Bao until he was out of breath. You? Why did you kiss me? You've scared me. Frightened? I haven't even done it yet, so why would I be frightened? And I'm wearing protection. Di Haotian's voice was low and husky. Tang Bao's face turned red. He punched his chest and said, What are you talking about? Big hooligan. Are you scared? Di Haotian asked gently. Tang Bao finally understood why he had dragged her back to the room and kissed her. But how could he comfort someone like that? Although the effect felt good, after all, people would not have the energy to care about anything else when they were so intimate. She was not scared. Di Haotian was too nervous. Don't worry. I'm not that weak. At most, the people in the studio will be suspicious of our identities, that's all. I said before that I have a family. Now that we're in an ambiguous relationship, my image. Tang Bao could not help but shake his head and sigh. Why? Do you want to draw a line with me? Di Haotian's low voice was threatening, but Tang Bao knew that even if there was no threat, she would not draw a line with him. Mouths grow on other people's faces. If they want to say something, let them say it. I don't care. Anyway, it's not bad to be your gigolo. If they really want to criticize me, it's definitely jealousy. The favor of the king of D City is so honorable. That's more like it. Di Haotian could not help but kiss her again. Wait a minute. Liu Huai won't be coming, right? No, she won't. If she comes, I'll cut off both her legs. How cruel. I can be even more cruel, Di Haotian said as he kissed her red and swollen lip. After chasing Di Haotian away with great difficulty, Tang Bao could finally calm down and deal with his work. Di Bowling's matter was blown out of proportion, but she did not want to stop it. Di Bowling had to return to her side. Tang Bao posted all the Mia's alternate accounts on the fan site. She even deliberately gave herself an awesome online nickname, always walking the underworld, unrivaled until now. Not long after the post was posted, fans from all directions flocked to it. Tang Bao did not even need to say who this Mia was. She thought that the experts were among the people. It would not be long before people found out who this alternate account was. After lunch, Tang Bao slumped on the sofa in Di Haotian's office and scrolled through the real-time gossip news on his phone. Sure enough, Mia was found out. The netizens immediately guessed who this starlet who had just debuted was and why she was so scheming. They unanimously boycotted her and began to scold Mia. Tang Bao was in the studio and under Mengshi Qingju as Weibo. She saw that someone had sent a screenshot of her post. Some netizens were even more awesome. Anyway, they did not know how they found out that Mia was having an affair with director Wang Zhu. However, such a thing really happened. It was true. Then, director Wang Zhu's wife was also involved. Of course, when faced with such a thing, the wife would definitely clarify for her husband immediately. After all, family scandals should not be aired in public. However, she did not know what happened in private. Tang Bao was only interested in his work. When the fans on the internet became active again, he posted on Weibo again. Naturally, it was to promote Mingxi's new film. Not long after Tang Bao posted on Weibo, many unfamiliar marketing accounts appeared and reposted her promotional Weibo. Immediately, almost everyone on the internet was promoting it. In this way, Tang Ji's homosexuality and mistress were all covered up. Only the Mia framed him, the Mia mistress, and the promotion of Mingxi's new film were left to cover it. Tang Bao was stunned. These netizens were too powerful, weren't they? This promotion was even fiercer than at the beginning. Mia had not become popular yet, but she was already scolded like this. It would be difficult for her to become popular. After all, the title of mistress was really not easy to turn around. Then, Tang Bao browsed through all the major media websites and found that they were all beneficial to Tang Gu or his artists. There were also netizens' comments below. I feel that this comeback is too powerful. This can only be said to be evil people's retribution. How dare they slander others like this? Mingxi is such a good artist. Her agent can't be that bad. It's simply too satisfying. That Mia, oh my god, I really saw her promotion before. It was the poster. At that time, I thought she was so beautiful. The most vicious woman's heart was tailor-made for her. I also heard that the agent of Ibao Studio would get a room with Xiao Shuyan and would immediately be caught red-handed. Is there such a coincidence in the world? That's right. Chapter 1064. However, Tang Bao kept scrolling. She felt that these media platforms were like her home. Why were they promoting Meng Xi's drama? At the same time, she praised Ibao Studio. Meng Xi's fans? Previously, she heard that Meng Xi had a rich girl who was very infatuated with him. She promoted him on the internet and even went to visit him at work, saying that she would give her idol a car and a house. At that time, Tang Bao only smiled when she saw and heard about it. After all, Meng Xi's charm was indeed great. There was nothing strange about it. Tang Bao accidentally saw another comment. Strange, I posted 2 comments. Why did they disappear? It can't be. We're all fine. What did you post? I posted that Ibao Studio's agent is gay and likes to steal men's mistresses. Please disappear. Just when Tang Bao finally saw that a comment saying that he had posted something bad had disappeared, his phone was taken away. What are you doing? I haven't finished reading it. Your eyes will hurt if you keep staring at your phone. How is it bad? Tang Bao raised his small face and blinked his eyes twice. Let me see if it's broken. When Tang Bao saw Di Haotian coming over, she quickly ran away. If she didn't run away, Di Haotian wouldn't eat her. What are you looking at? Di Haotian took her phone and scrolled through it. Tang Bao couldn't stop Di Haotian. Anyway, her phone was in Di Haotian's hands and she couldn't have any privacy. Let him be. It's the gossip on the internet. The momentum now is very good for Ibao Studio. I can't even find a negative comment. There was one just now, but it disappeared. It must have been deleted by someone else, Di Haotian said indifferently. Then, he threw her phone aside and changed the topic. It's time for a nap. Tang Bao turned around and went to the lounge. What nap? It was clearly Di Haotian who was ready to make a move. Di Haotian watched Tang Bao go to the lounge and his tall figure followed. His dark eyes stared deeply at the slender figure. From now on, those media platforms would no longer have any negative topics about Tang Bao. Although Li Yuhui was banned from the square, she couldn't calm down at all. What did Di Haotian mean? What did he mean by whose son he was? No, she had to ask Di Junbai. She took out her phone, she called Di Junbai. She called for a long time, but no one answered. She could only take the car back. No matter what, she would wait until Di Haotian. Di Junbai sat in his office. He already knew that Li Yuhui had gone to Ibao Studio to cause trouble. She didn't answer her calls because she was annoyed. He had lost this move. He had been too hasty. But it was fine. Dee Bowling had to go back sooner or later. It was just a little earlier than he thought. But Dee Bowling didn't know his identity now, did he? Even if he knew, would Dee Bowling give up on him so easily, the father who had raised him for 3 years? Otherwise, wouldn't the education he had instilled in him for the past few years have failed? Therefore, he still had a chance to turn things around. Mia was the only one who was worried about this. She was looked at strangely by the people in the crew. How did she usually treat those people? They drew a line with her just because of some negative news about her? What sister? It was disgusting. Especially Wang Zhu, she hadn't seen him appear. What did he mean? Was he going to give up on her too? How could he? It wasn't easy for her to join the crew. She had only been filming for half a month. Was she going to be replaced? No, she had signed a contract with Song Hong. If she terminated the contract, she would have to compensate for her losses. But Mia knew very well that this termination was her fault. How could the company compensate her for her losses? Song Hong was a company that loved money as much as life. They only cared about whether stars could bring benefit. It was good enough that they didn't ask her for compensation for such losses. If they really wanted compensation, where would she have the money? Mia returned home in a gloomy mood. Before she could enter the house, someone grabbed her by the hair and dragged her away. Ah! Who is it? Let go, let go! Mia's scalp hurt. Before she could see who grabbed her hair, she was slapped hard twice. Mia screamed in agitation. After letting go of her hair, Mia finally saw who hit her. It was a fashionably dressed and elegant woman. Although she was a little plump, she looked very imposing. There were 2 men behind her. They didn't look friendly. Mia was alone now. Even if she wanted to fight with this woman, she couldn't win against the 2 men. What did I do to offend you? Why are you doing this to me? You must have mistaken me for someone else. Mia felt her face burning. She swallowed her anger and asked, "Mistaken? I've never been wrong about those mistresses outside." Mistress? Mia couldn't help but look at the woman in front of her again. She seemed to remember who this person was. She was Wang Zhu's wife. Wang Zhu's wife actually came looking for her. Mia's face turned pale. She couldn't be in the wrong. Once she was in the wrong, she would be in big trouble. She quickly explained, "Sis, there must be a mistake." "A mistake? Then tell me what's wrong?" "Yes. It's just like those rumors online. None of them are true. Also, we all know that Director Wang has a beautiful wife at home. How could I knowingly break the rules?" "I think you're breaking the rules knowingly. If the rumors online and the investigation by the crew can't be trusted, then what's with the video of the 2 of you in Wang Zhu's phone? Do you think I'm an idiot?" Mia was stunned. The video in the phone was taken on a whim when she was in bed with Wang Zhu. Wang Zhu was a director, so there was nothing to say about this level of filming. Mia even praised him when she was watching the video. She didn't delete it and even let Wang Zhu's wife see it? "What else do you have to say?" Sis, I'm sorry. I didn't do it on purpose. I was forced." Mia could only beg her to let her off. "Let me go. I won't do it again." "Next time? You little vixens like to crawl into men's beds. If I don't teach you a lesson, you won't know how powerful I am." Wang Zhu's wife, Qiu Yan, ordered the helpers behind her. "Since she wants to find a man, you can fulfill her wish." Mia was so scared that her face turned pale. Seeing the 2 men approaching her, she was so scared that she kept retreating. She wanted to run, but after a few steps, she was caught and pressed to the ground. Let me go. You're breaking the law." Qiu Yan sneered. "If you die, it's on me." No. I beg you, sis, let me go. I didn't mean to hurt you." Mia was so scared that she cried. Chapter 1065. The man who was pushed away saw Wang Zhu and didn't dare to go forward. But Qiu Yan didn't buy it. Her husband was siding with this B*TCA. She was so angry that she trembled. Wang Zhu, do you think I'm dead? You're still helping her? I know you're in a bad mood because Miao Miao is in a coma in the hospital, but you can't do this. Wang Zhu went forward to comfort Xiao Yan. Aren't you afraid of attracting attention? How are you going to deal with it if you get into trouble? My reputation is fine, but what about your family? It's not good. Xiao Yan was also a person who cared about her reputation. She had only hid her because she was angry. But it was an indisputable fact that Wang Zhu was fooling around with a minor celebrity. How could she let it go so easily? Wang Zhu, you're heartless. Back then, you went from being a stage supervisor of a film crew to being a famous director. Who was the one to take credit for that? If it weren't for me, who knows where you would be now? Xiao Yan was so angry that her eyes were filled with tears. Yes. I'm sorry. It's my fault. I did it in a moment of confusion. I was just venting with her. My heart only belongs to you. It's not like you don't know that. Wang Zhu coaxed her with sweet words. Don't worry. I'll keep her away from the set in the future. She won't be allowed to stay in the set in the future, okay? Don't be angry. Xiao Yan was furious that she was betrayed, but things had already come to this point. At most, she would be angry. Was she really going to divorce? She had been married to Wang Zhu for so many years. How could their relationship be explained in just a few words? Xiao Yan glared at Mia, who was sitting on the ground. If I find you pestering me again, I'll kill you. With that, she turned and left. Wang Zhu didn't even look at Mia on the ground and left with his wife. Mia almost collapsed on the ground. Fortunately, Wang Zhu was here. Otherwise, she would have been done for today. And it was all Tang Ji's fault. If it weren't for him, she wouldn't have become like this. She wouldn't let Tang go. When Lan Wanru saw that Li Yuhuai had returned, he hurriedly stepped forward and said, Auntie, I told you not to go, but you insisted. Brother Haotian is in the tea. Even if you want to go, you have to wait until Brother Haotian is not around. Can I wait? Li Yuhuai sat down on the sofa and continued to call Di Junbai, but he still did not pick up. Lan Wanru saw that she was very angry, so he sat down and said, Auntie, don't be angry. This isn't a big deal. Bowling will be back in a few days. I don't think things are that simple. What do you mean? Wait for Junbai to come back. It was almost dinner time when Di Junbai came back. His expression was normal. When Li Yuhuai saw that he had returned, she immediately went up to him and asked, How many times did I call you? Why didn't you answer any of my calls? I'm busy. Are you really busy, or do you not want to answer my calls? Di Junbai did not answer her directly. Instead, he asked, Did you cause trouble at Ibao Studio today? Wanru, why didn't you stop her? Lan Wanru tried to stop her, but failed. Don't change the subject. Let me ask you, why did Di Haotian keep bringing bowling to the castle? Li Yuhuai asked. Is there a problem with playing with his 2 children? I don't want there to be any problems, but do you know what Di Haotian asked me today? He asked me to come back and ask you whose son Di Bowling is. Li Yuhuai stared at Di Junbai's face, trying to read his expression. Tell me, is there something I don't know? Why did Di Haotian say that? Di Junbai lowered his gaze slightly. When he looked up again, his expression was calm as he said, I'm sorry. It's my fault for hiding this from you all for so long. Bowling is Di Haotian's son, not mine. What did you say? Li Yuhuai stumbled backward and almost fell. Lan Wanru, who had regained his senses, immediately supported her. Auntie you! Li Yuhuai pounced on Di Junbai and hit him angrily. Are you crazy? How could you say something like that? How could you say that your own son is someone else's son? What are you thinking? Take back what you said just now. Everything I said was the truth. There was no woman and no test tube. It was when Tang Bao gave birth to a child that I swapped with another one. The girl in the castle was swapped by me. Li Yuhui was speechless. She felt like her head was buzzing. Her beloved grandson had become Yu Songhuan's grandson, and her love had actually been given to Di Haotian's son? How could she accept this? Lan Wanru asked, "Brother, why did you do this? Is it because of your love for Tang Bao?" "Yes. Even if I can't have her, it's still good to take her child away." Di Junbai told him everything. Li Yuhui shouted angrily, "How could you do this? You brought back a grandson for me, and asked me to serve him every day and love him. Now you're telling me that he's Di Haotian's son. You're stabbing me in the heart." "I'm sorry. I didn't want to say anything for the rest of my life," Di Junbai said. "Yes, you didn't say anything for the rest of your life. But if you take someone else's child away, would they be willing?" Li Yuhui asked bitterly. "I'm sorry." When Li Yuhui saw that Di Junbai only knew how to apologize, she was so angry that she wanted to hit Di Junbai with her hands. However, Lan Wanru stopped her. "Auntie, calm down. If it's not, then it's not. This kind of thing can't be forced. My grandson has become someone else's grandson. What should I do? No, Bo Ling is my grandson. Give me back my grandson." Li Yuhui was practically screaming at the top of his lungs. "Auntie, send her back to her room," Di Junbai instructed her. Lan Wanru had no choice but to help Li Yuhui to her room. In the room, Li Yuhui couldn't calm down for a long time. Lan Wanru comforted her for a long time before she calmed down. When she went out of the room, she saw Di Junbai sitting in the hall. When Di Junbai saw her come out, he stood up and said, "Let's eat. It's normal for Auntie to be upset. After all, she has always loved bowling so much. She didn't expect things to turn out this way." "This is human nature," Lan Wanru said. "It's indeed my fault. I shouldn't have done that. But what's done is done. Let's not talk about it anymore." After Di Junbai finished speaking, he walked into the dining room. Lan Wanru looked at Di Junbai's back and felt that strange feeling in her heart again. She didn't know what Di Junbai was thinking. Was it really because he missed the Tang Bao to this extent? How deep were his feelings for the Tang Bao that he had to steal someone else's child to raise it? Lan Wanru couldn't understand. Perhaps everyone's personality was different and they handled things differently too. Chapter 1066. During the meal, Lan Wanru wanted to ask if Di Bowling could come back. But when she saw Di Junbai's expression, she did not dare to ask. Recently, Meng Shi had been accepting interviews from reporters for publicity. Tang Bao stood below the stage and looked at Meng Shi, who was standing at the center of the stage, and the other female lead, who was accepting questions from the media reporters one after another. "Meng Shi, your drama this time is popular again. Now, everyone says that as long as it's your drama, it will be popular. You're the most popular one, so what do you think?" Tang Bao looked at Meng Shi's usual cold self-control and said, "It's mainly because of everyone's love for me. I don't dare to be the most popular one." "Meng Shi, you're too humble. May I ask if you have a girlfriend now? If not, why don't you be with Ma Go?" Ma Go was the female lead in the drama. At this moment, she was standing beside Meng Shi to promote the drama. Meng Shi's expression did not change. Beside her, Ma Go laughed. "TV and reality are different, but we're still very grateful that you like us." When these questions were not out of line, there would always be people who liked to be unique. "Meng Shi, there was a scandal in your company previously. Have you ever thought of changing your manager?" Meng Shi's expression changed. "None of your business." Tang Bao, who was below the stage, facepalmed. He had already told him that there would definitely be outsiders below the stage. When the time came, he just had to pretend to ignore them. This old man, on the other hand, scolded them directly. "Sorry, we were just curious," the reporter continued to ask. "Do you want to be curious about whether I'll throw you out?" Meng Shi asked coldly. On and off the stage, it was very awkward. Ma Gu was afraid of causing public outrage, so she quickly laughed. Ha ha ha, Meng Shi is really too humorous. Do you have any questions for me? After getting off the stage, even if Meng Shi's attitude was not right, there were still many fans who worshipped her. This was Meng Shi's charm. When they reached the lounge, Tang Bao walked in. Meng Shi was sitting on the edge of the table. Her expression was very bad, and she seemed to be impatient. When she saw Tang Bao come in, her expression became better. Tang Bao said, "Your expression changed really quickly. It can't be helped. How can they compare to you? Even if you can't compare, you shouldn't have said that in front of so many cameras. Aren't you giving people something to use against you? Don't worry. If you like me, you like me. If you don't like me, it's useless even if I say good things about you. You're quite knowledgeable. After all, I've been in the entertainment industry for so many years. Besides, if you can't be a star, you can just go home and take over the company." Tang Bao did not believe that he could say it so easily. If that was the case, would he have stayed in the entertainment industry for so long? And it was done with great relish. Of course, Tang Bao didn't think that Meng Shi was thinking for her. Meng Shi was similar to Yu Lianlian. She liked life in the entertainment industry. However, it was all because of her that Yu Lianlian was forced to become a businessman in the end. Tang Bao hoped that Yu Lianlian could follow his heart and do what he wanted to do without being restrained by anything. Meng Shi smiled. If the people outside saw his big-tailed wolf appearance, they would definitely be taken aback. Tang Bao looked at his face and glanced at him. "What do you want? If I go back and take over the family business, will you go with me? I'm married." These 3 words made Meng Shi's expression change instantly. "Can you stop mentioning this all the time?" "No, I can't. In case you forget, I have to remind you all the time not to seduce a married man." After the media publicity ended, they all left. Tang Bao had just gotten into the car when he received a call from Yu Lianlian. He wondered why she was calling him at this time. But fortunately, it was not Di Haotian. When she said that she had work this afternoon, Di Haotian's expression did not look good. It was as if she was going abroad. "Sister Yu, are you looking for me? I saw the live broadcast of Meng Shi's media publicity just now. I thought that you should be there too, so I called you when it was about time. Let's have lunch together tomorrow?" "Tomorrow afternoon? Why? Do you have something to do?" "No matter what, I still have to eat. I'm making a reservation with you now. Even if you have something to do, you have to reject it in advance." "Yes, the young master should be fine," Yu Lianlian said uncertainly. Zhou Jisen was the one who told him to make an appointment in advance. Yu Lianlian also had a lesson from the past, so she did not dare to delay. "It sounds like you're looking for me for something very important?" Tang Bao asked. "Of course it's important. So, you can't forget. Then can you reveal it to me now?" It seemed quite mysterious. "No." "So arrogant?" After hanging up the phone, Tang Bao went to the set to see Qing Ju. He heard from Qing Ju about the filming process 2 days ago. Wang Zhu did not appear for 2 days in a row, and when he appeared later, his temper was not very good. Tang Bao did not need to ask to know the reason. Although Wang Zhu was now a big director, he relied on his wife to make a fortune. His wife's family was much more powerful than his. If he offended his wife with a mistress outside, he would be anxious. He had to go back and coax her. However, this kind of thing would not be shown on the surface. Others would not ask too much. Tang Bao had just gotten out of the car when Qing Ju, who was wearing ancient clothes, was already waiting there. "Brother Tang." Qing Ju walked over. "Has filming returned to normal?" Tang Bao asked. "It's normal. They're filming over there." Tang Bao looked elsewhere and asked, "Mia is still filming?" "No. She came a few times recently to look for Director Wang, but Director Wang did not want to see her now. Now, she can't even enter the filming site. He's really heartless." Tang Bao smiled faintly. For a public figure like a celebrity, the last thing they should do is destroy their own image. Because your image is to be shown to the public. A mistress is a rat crossing the street that everyone hates. If she really appears on the screen, Song Hong will drown in the saliva of the netizens. Song Hong is not to be trifled with. With such a notorious artist, Song Hong's first target will be Zhao Shijin, then Wang Zhu. Is Wang Zhu going to be replaced? That depends on how much he causes Song Hong to lose. Tang Bao greeted the director and left not long after. Seeing that Wang Zhu was in good spirits, it seemed that the one at home had been coaxed. Since his wife had been coaxed, she would definitely help him. As for Song Hong, he would not refuse any benefits. Not long after the car left the set, it braked suddenly and was only a millimeter away from the person who blocked the car. Even though it was an emergency brake, Tang Bao did not have much inertia impact. This reminded her of the previous driver. Sure enough, Di Haotian had chosen a different person. His driving skills were amazing. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.